Hello, everybody. Good to be back on another live stream. Oh, gotta control the volume here. I can hear myself in the back. Hold on, I gotta turn off. Okay, there we go. Good to go. All right, so we are not on the beach today, but we are here anyway. We're in Brooklyn today, and we are supposed to be going. Not supposed to be. I'm going to conference. That's what brought me here, and heading out to that conference tomorrow and which is in LA. So spending a few days out here in New York, getting myself together and going to that conference. Wish I was on the beach, but couldn't do that today. And we have a bit of an agenda. I don't know if you saw the thumbnail that we have, but we're going to be going through a review of the conversation that I had on Thursday with the real estate development that's taking place in Hanover. And then we're also going to be going through updates with Thropex, of course. What else we got? We got updates on Tropical Storm Ian, got a new world record marathon that happened early this morning in Berlin, which of course I'm a marathon runner, so we have to talk running every now and then, without a doubt. And that's pretty much the agenda for today. Of course, please let me know where everybody is chiming in from, and I'd like to hear about all the cities and the worldliness of this community. Got my Brooklyn coffee here. And we can roll into it. My eyes are watering because there's onions being cooked in the background and my eyes are super sensitive. So I'm gonna try to push past that. Yeah, sorry, Andrew, no beach today. But we're gonna make it work. No beach for the next 2 weeks, as a matter of fact. So next week we're not gonna be on the beach. We're gonna be in the city again next week. But we still got to have these lives continue on no matter what and give everybody updates. I'm using a new mic as well, so let me know about the quality and clarity. That would be good. And if it picks up background noises, I don't have the volume turned up too much in my headphones here. So any feedback on the mic that we're using, that would be amazing. Hello, Sonia. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for hopping on. Very nice to see you. I guess we can just hop right into it. I don't like to delay too much, but of course, please let me know where everybody's chiming in from. Any comments or questions, we can review and go over them. What I will start off with is the live stream that I did on Thursday. So so much interesting feedback from that while that was going on, as well as the afterthoughts and even myself and processing it. And it was a very, what would I say? It was a lively discussion, to say the least, in terms of the comments and the feedbacks of the live stream. And I even think that, the guests were a little bit surprised, perhaps, of the types of feedback that they were getting. But I also think it was very good. Everybody was very, so I get my charger. Everybody was very honest about how they felt about the development, and we'll get into the the actual conversation. And for those that missed it, I would really, I'd really suggest you take a look at that live stream. So that was a live stream from Thursday, if you missed it. And it was, I learned a lot. And I think a lot of the people who were there live learned a lot. And I think the guests who were on also learned a lot. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that a little bit. One sec. A lot of noise in the background. Okay. Yeah, I'm just seeing your comments here. Hello, Synthwave. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Sharon chiming in from Jamaica in Texas. Okay, awesome. Sonia said, you sound clear. I hear a little background noise, like people in the kitchen, maybe. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But I think that's going to be what it is for now. If it gets too distracting, let me know. I can switch to the computer mic. That might be a little bit better. Hello, Lorraine. Says, good day, Throp and viewers. Welcome back to the fall in the Northeast. Thank you. It's lovely weather, actually. Lovely running weather. Safi, hello. Thanks for joining. Chris, Charles chiming in from Croatia. Awesome. I've never been there. Here it's beautiful. And Lorraine, of course, chiming in from Strong Island, Rockville Center. Hello, Rachel. Happy Sunday to you as well. Nice to see you. Lorraine 96 Smith, tuning in from London. Awesome, awesome. STG, STW, good to see you. Don, hello. Chiming in from Mississauga, Canada. Yeah, we're going to get into the storm. Good question. We're going to get into that. I guess we could hop into that as well right away. As a matter of fact, we don't have to stick to the order, do we? We can do whatever we want here. Maya, West End. Okay, West End Negril. Thank you for the feedback, Maya. Appreciate it. I wish I was in West End Negril, but I'm in East Flatbush, Brooklyn. Hello again, Lorraine. Boom. LaPree, New Jersey. I don't even know what that is. Almost wrote myself. All right, so we can chime into the storm. Chat Patois, big up Throp, tuning in from New Jersey. Sure, Times River. Cool. Thanks for joining. So I just talked to my dad about the storm, and nothing really from the Negril end right now. If I get any updates coming through the phone, I'll let you know. But just overcast for the most part, no rain, not windy or anything like that right now. And it seems okay. My dad's friend flew out this morning, no problem, back here to New York. So airports and flights seem to be okay at this point. And then he has another friend that's leaving later this afternoon, and doesn't, so far, no delays or anything like that. So everything seems to be relatively normal, relatively okay as far as flights go. So keeping our fingers crossed that, nothing too crazy happens. I've been tracking it a little bit on whether, I think we're going to get Jamaica, that is going to get spared, very lucky. But it looks like it's going to turn into a pretty serious storm. So, of course, keep our fingers crossed for Jamaica, but then all the subsequent country and lives that it could be affecting in a negative way in the future, very short-term future, as a matter of fact. So that's the update that I have on the storm. Nothing too much to report. Thank God everything's okay in Negril. And then Maya, you could probably confirm that. Maya Hall, that is, she's in West End Negril. Let us know if anything changes on your end while we're on this live stream. I would appreciate that. Tisha chiming in from Florida. Hello, nice to have you on. Grace Fowler says, hi Throp, good to be on today. I'm watching from Battery Park. I saw runners running this morning. I thought that's what you were here for. Unfortunately, I'm not running. I am still have this ankle injury that's been plaguing me for months, but I will hopefully be back soon. I did actually, I wish I had uploaded the pictures, but I didn't have a chance. But I did like a photo shoot yesterday for my running team. It's just actually the shirt that I'm wearing today. This is the Pace Run shirt. I shouldn't say that. This is Teamwork, and they actually do races called Pace Runs here in New York and Brooklyn. So this is my New York running team. I couldn't run with them yesterday, so I just did. I actually hopped on a city bike and just rode with them throughout Brooklyn and up the West Side Highway, just taking pictures of them and got them some professional pictures, which I'm excited to upload. So I'm going to put some of them on the community page as well, so you can see that. I said this before a few weeks ago, like one of my goals this year was trying to get more into photography and I really want to become like a really, really good photographer. Like that's one of my main goals that I want to accomplish this year. So I looked at this as a twofold opportunity for me to get into photography and to get better, just kind of get my volume up, and then also to give back to my team and my teammates, which I really enjoyed. It was a lot of fun. It was like a 2 hour. I was probably close to 2.5 hours, I would say. I was fine on the bike. They're the ones who did like 15, 20-mile runs yesterday. I wish I was out there, but I wasn't. Maybe next time. We'll see. Kevin Gaynor, Throp, I'm impressed. Most non-Canadians always mispronounce Mississauga. Okay, really? I've been there. I ran in Mississauga. I ran from the beaches in Toronto to Mississauga and back. That was actually a beautiful, one of my favorite runs that I've ever did in my entire life. Running along the lake shore, I believe it is. But you guys have like a really beautiful path, like right along the water. A lot of water stations, a lot of bathrooms as well. Like those are like the little things that I look for when I'm going on these like these really long runs, especially in places that are cities that I'm unfamiliar with. So super lucky, and it's beautiful there, like absolutely beautiful. A lot of little bridges. I remember that going towards Mississauga. So I really enjoyed that. I don't know when I'm going to get back to doing runs like that, but hopefully soon. And in Toronto or anywhere in Canada. Rochelle Campbell says, hello from Florida. Nice to see you. Thank you, Maya Hall. Appreciate you being our weather woman today, keeping us up to date in Negril. Lorraine says, prayers for your health and healing. Glad you could manage the bike. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. All right. What we're going to do now. All right, let's get into okay, I got it right. Lakeshore. Don says it's a beautiful running and bike trail along the waterfront. Yeah. Actually, like honestly, one of my favorites in the world that I've ever been to. All right, so let's get into the conversation that we had on Thursday. And so those that are unaware, I did a live stream with a group of, it was the developer and realtors talking about a project that they're doing in Hanover, very close to the St. James Hanover border. And I met these folks. One of them, Wendy, she's a subscriber here. She's been to on a bunch of lives, and she supports the channel, and she's a realtor based out of Orlando, Florida. And we had a pretty good rapport, kind of going back and forth. And she invited me to a Clubhouse chat room. For those that don't know what Clubhouse is, it's a social media app that is essentially audio only, and they have these Clubhouse rooms that you go into, and you can have discussions on various different topics. You can have anything that you can think of. You can have a group of people come together into a room and talk about different things. So I was invited to a Clubhouse room on real estate in Jamaica, and they have a few events that they've been planning. And I invited her and one of her colleagues, or two of her colleagues, onto the live stream on Thursday to speak about this development that they're doing in Hanover. And the discussion started out with, of course, them introducing themselves and what they're doing and explaining the development that they're doing. And they're doing two developments. So they're doing a luxury development in Hanover with I guess an Italian type design, like new age design, which is cool. Sorry, the cooking in the back. And they were explaining this to us, and the price point for the luxury, if I remember correctly, was $850,000 US starting, going up to, I believe, $3 million, 110-acre development, I believe, with I think 200 and change units on there, with all the amenities that you can imagine: beach, volleyball courts, tennis, all sorts of luxury services that you'd pay for that price point. And then they were also doing an affordable housing development as well, which was starting at 250,000 US. And the feedback from the chat and from the comments were just, people were, I would say outraged, and maybe that's a little bit extreme, but people were very, very upset with this type of development. And then also the idea that affordable housing was $250,000, which is, I mean, that's not affordable to me, but, and I expressed that in our conversation. And that was basically the feedback. And I guess I don't necessarily want to rehash that directly, but I do want to rehash or hash, I should say, my my thoughts on that after kind of stepping back from it from a few days and thinking about the conversation. And then also the feedback that I received like a few days after, like right after, and then even that I continue to get even up until this morning. And I realize how passionate people are and appreciate how passionate people are about Jamaica, and really like everybody has their own different relationship with Jamaica, and they have their own understanding of what they would like to see Jamaica become and how they would like to see Jamaica reach its potential. And I feel like this community that we have here, the Throp community, is really made up. I think there's enough of us to say that I think we represent a good average of what I think most people want to see Jamaica become, and especially when it comes to housing and providing these types of different types of development. And I think as a group here, we are without a doubt Jamaica first centric mindset, Jamaica first mindset. Like that's what this group is. And we want to do it in a sustainable way. We want to do it in an impactful way that affects, in a positive way, the average Jamaican. This group is not about coming in and making millions of dollars for a select few people. This group is not about only having a select few group of people, I would say, reap the benefits of in my opinion, what would I say, the upcoming potential reaching situation that Jamaica is going to find itself in very soon, that I think. And, my thinking is like, how can we again put plans in place, and how can leadership advocate for the benefits of the Jamaica is going to see soon for all Jamaicans, and especially the average Jamaicans? And how do we take people from just just thinking upward mobility when it comes to the quality of life that we have for the average Jamaican? Like, how do we make that happen? And how do all these people, how do we lift the country up? Because when we think, in my mind, when I think about crime and I think about the violence that we unfortunately suffer in Jamaica, and I will continue to say that until I'm blue in the face, is that education is the way, coupled with creating opportunities for society. And if we don't start thinking about this on these fundamental levels and these fundamental ways, with food, with housing, with education, then in 10 or 20 years from now, we're going to find ourselves in the same position, maybe even a worse position. And I don't necessarily think that the Jamaican government is forgetting about the common person in Jamaica. I don't think that at all. But I do think that when it comes to private developments in the private sector, this is something that we should be pushing. And I always say that we can and shouldn't rely on the government to make certain changes in our community, although for sure there should be some basic things that the government is taking, I would say, taking for granted, or at least in our eyes, citizens not making a priority. And we do have to advocate, push for that, and hold them accountable. Like, we have to do a better job of that for sure, instead of like sitting here and complaining. And with the private sector, and I think we accomplished this on Thursday, is really educating investors more than anything else on what is needed. And what is needed can be good for many, many people, and even yourself as an investor. Like, you can make really, really good profits by investing in Jamaica and investing in its people and helping them lift themselves out of poverty by creating opportunities through your investments and making a return on that. And, you know, and I was alluding to this in the conversation that we were having with them. And I think, and talking with friends and again, getting feedback, I just felt that group was, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they've done their research. They had to have at this point. If they're doing a development of this size and this magnitude, there's no way you're going to put in literally tens of millions of US dollars into development and not understand your target market and not understand that there is only a finite amount of people that can qualify for these types of houses and these types of luxury apartments. I was talking about my brother, and like I like all the conversations post that live. I talk with all people who know Jamaica, who know Jamaican real estate, who know Jamaican construction, who understand Jamaican finance, understands Jamaican banking. And when we were like looking at the market, and like these are discussions that I had, and we were just like looking at Negril, and in Negril, there are places that you can rent for $5,000 a night. And I think like, how many places are like that in Negril? And there's not more than, I don't think there was 3. And I can only think of 2 off the top of my hand. If there's 5, I would be surprised. How often are those places booked? It's not like we have these villas and these extremely expensive accommodations and they're sold out and like, man, we need more, at least as far as I know. So, I would say I'm a little concerned for that, like that they're going to be putting their money into something. And we don't, of course, as a community, as a country, like we don't want empty developments. We don't want, again, a Palmyra situation where they came in with, I mean, thank God it's been saved now, but for, close to 10 years, the government, I mean, I wouldn't say the government, that was just a huge sore eye on Montego Bay. And for those that don't know, like the Palmyra Hotel, Palmyra Residence, I'm sorry, it's on the North Coast in Montego Bay, like very close to the Montego Bay Convention Center. And it was this ultra luxury developments. I would say, I think it's maybe like 10 stories, maybe a little bit more, high rise, beautiful property. And people who bought into that at the time got really screwed. My dad's friend bought an apartment, a penthouse apartment at the time was like $900,000 US dollars. And it was, and when you drove by, you saw these high rises, unfinished high rises with empty windows and completely pitch black at night. And I remember she bought her apartment, and I only been there once with her, and we had to climb 9 or 10 stairs, I think 9 or 10 flights of stairs, because the elevators weren't working, because they only switched on the electricity every other day. And she paid damn near $1 million for this thing. And I'm like, boy, oh boy. I mean, thank God it's got finished. I've been there twice. I went to the grand opening. Beautiful, absolutely phenomenal property right now with amazing management, great service, as a matter of fact. And, in the end, it worked out for sure. But did it go according to plan? Like, not at all. Like the stories I heard were just like incredible. And so again, when I hear about these mega developments that are happening, I just think back to examples like that. I'm just like, man, I really hope these people know what they're doing. And again, that they've done their market research, and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they did do that, and they know their numbers. They know their target demographics. They understand like how the construction works here as well, because I got a sense of just like out of touchness as I reflect on our conversation, as I get feedback and I talk to everybody. And I don't want to, I don't want to be clear that I'm not trying to bash them. They're obviously not here to counter what I'm saying, but I'm not trying to, throw them under the bus or anything like that. But I think it's important when we have conversations like this that we're able to reflect on it, and then also especially something of this magnitude that I think is going to affect a lot of people. And as I feel like, and this is another sentiment that I've received post this conversation, and even before that, like Jamaica is really heading into this uber luxury market in many ways. And I thought that this was going to be unique to the eastern part, the Port Antonios of the world. And but now Jamaica is really, really hot. Like I can't, again, we talk about it all the time. Like the investment that is coming here is unbelievable. And there people are just, it's a bit of a gold rush and people are trying to hop on it. And it's just so many positive things that are happening. Jamaica Stock Exchange included, hotel investment included, residential development, real estate development included, and all these things are just kind of feeding off of each other. And it's a bit of a gold rush of people coming in. And again, with what I open up with, how is the average Jamaican going to benefit from this, and in a sustainable way? And it's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It's fantastic. We're going to get thousands of construction jobs off the bat, but that may be for only a year, 2 years, and that's giving them the fish instead of teaching them how to fish. And that's what, these are the kind of things and type of thinking that we need to have. And I'm not hearing a lot of that. And that's not unique to this development that we discussed on Thursday. This is something that I hear all the time. How many people are going to be working there full time, and having year-round full-time jobs after the construction phase of it is finished? Where do those construction workers go? This is kind of the way that I think when I hear these things. And so kind of going back to Jamaica moving in this luxury direction, I do hope, and maybe this is our responsibility, is like we need housing and we need development for I would say a community like ours. And I think again we represent like the vast majority, of people who are trying to move to Jamaica, who are trying to live here, call this place home. And it shouldn't turn into something that only the very rich have access to. And I was talking about this with my family about what's happening here in Brooklyn and what's already has happened. Like the gentrification is incredible, incredible. This has what happened here throughout Brooklyn and continues to happen. There's pretty much only 2 neighborhoods in Brooklyn that are left that are, I would say, pretty rough at this point, whereas mostly populated by Black people. And now it's not going to be Black people anymore. Like within 10 years, and now we've seen what happened in Brooklyn in the last 10 years, and it's going to continue to go down that route. And unfortunately, I see a very similar future happening with Jamaica. And I'm like, man, I don't know what can be done about it, but I know that it needs to be spoken about and we need to talk about it. We need to understand it, understand who the players are, understand who are going to benefit from developments. And this is and I think this is a different type of gentrification that's happening. And I think it's just something that we need to continue to be aware of as we move forward. I have a lot more to say on that, but I see a bunch of comments coming in, so I'm going to hop into that really quick, and we'll get back to the discussion. Sonia says that's affordable housing. Oh boy, yes, yeah, it's kind of crazy. I missed Thursday's live, but we'll check it out. But we need to keep Jamaica realistically affordable for regular people. Rochelle says exactly. Rachel says that's right. Safi Anderson says I was extremely disappointed when it was said on the live stream in the week that they want Jamaica to become like Singapore. We don't want it. Let Jamaica be Jamaica. That's why we loved it. My God. So the thing on the Singapore example, I believe I've said this before in the past. I don't know if I said this in the live stream. And it's not a bad thing in terms of being Singapore, like Singapore. And I don't mean from a cultural standpoint, and I don't necessarily mean from a social standpoint at all. I mean Singapore in the sense from its logistical aspect, and Jamaica become the logistical hub of the Western Hemisphere. And if that happens and it's done right, that's going to change the life of every little Jamaican boy and girl, hands down, no question. But we have to focus on that from now, this inception stage, and making sure the structure of that is right in terms of how it's going to affect the average person, and not be a very small percentage of the Jamaican populace, or maybe even foreign national populace, who benefit from this. And that is what I would say is my fear of becoming the Singapore of the West. In Singapore, the lives, and I should remember this because I've been there and I've been told the story very much, but the former prime minister who has passed away, who basically dedicated his life to that country, like he is just, he's looked at as a god, because he changed within his lifetime, within a generation. He took a very, very, very poor country and made it into one of the most well-off countries in the world, and they have a very high per capita income from such a small island nation. And Jamaica could be that in a very, very real way. And like, I'm not talking, this is not like pie in the sky talk. And we've had these discussions before about Jamaica becoming this extremely incredible logistics hub for the West. And one of the main advantages of that is proximity to North America, the United States, Canada, Mexico, and then also it having the largest natural uh, port in the Atlantic Ocean, the deepest port. So we can take those, again. I've talked about this before. Those super mega ships that go through the Panama Canal can now dock in Jamaica because the harbor is that deep, and we can manage those ships. So these, from a foundational standpoint, this is why Jamaica is poised for this. And again, and I've mentioned this before, we have great political stability as well. So that's what I mean, Safi, when I say, when I talk about and compare Jamaica to being the Singapore of the West. It's not about being Singapore in its culture or socially or anything like that. It's, I would say, more economically than anything else. Happy Sunday, Donna. Thanks for chiming in. Rose, I missed the live on Thursday, but watched the video. I was so taken aback that they kept referring to the master plan development as affordable housing. Yeah, 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 yeah. That seems to be the ongoing theme, and people were rightfully upset about that. Rightfully upset. And I'll also say, and I said this on the live stream with the guest, is that things, developments of this nature are coming to Jamaica. Like, it's happening. I've heard of bigger developments than this, more expensive developments than this. It's happening. And to me, this is an education on what's to come, and what is kind of happening in the understreams, if you will, of investments in Jamaica. And it's just one of those things, is like, we got to realize, and I think this was an eye opener, like, this stuff is happening. And there are bigger players than, I'm not putting these guys down at all, but, and they know it too, they accepted that as well, that there are bigger players than them who are doing bigger and more luxurious products. So this is the reality of the situation, the reality of what's happening on the ground in Jamaica as far as investments go. Safi says, I understand the need for balance in the housing market, but I was underwhelmed by the offering. Rich people will be ushered to a secure facility and escorted when they go out. What's the point? I agree. I probably didn't come across as strongly enough on that point, and in the moment, and I was, yeah, that's kind of crazy. But I did say, I remember saying that people who are moving to Jamaica, and especially Jamaicans who are living abroad and coming back, they're not trying to stay in an all-inclusive resident where you never have to leave. And that's one thing that I was just like, no, people want to go and explore Jamaica. People want to go and enjoy their country. Why would they want to be locked up in a gate and locked up in a facility and where they have everything at their fingertips, which is all well and good and nice and it's convenient, etc. But what? Like, why would you move here then? Why don't you move to Florida? And if you want that, why would you come here? You're missing out on the whole entire point. And people want to experience that. And we also got, and this is another point my friend had brought up, is like, it's kind of, there's like a New Yorkness to this, where it's Jamaica is edgy, and it's always going to be edgy. I don't know if we'll ever get that taken away, but that's also part of the appeal. Just like New York. New York is edgy, but like this is the #1 city in the entire world. And without that edginess and the grittiness, New York wouldn't be New York. I go to, no shade on Toronto. Like, you go to Toronto, and Toronto it's a nice city. It's a very nice city. It's clean. It's very technologically advanced. It's convenient, public transportation, etc. But it doesn't have the grittiness of New York. As much as we complain about how dirty it is and how rude people are, and I got cussed out the other day, blah blah blah. But that's a New York experience. Like, just like in Jamaica, there's an edginess to it, and there's not this edginess like that, oh my god, I'm gonna be killed, or oh my god, I'm gonna be robbed, or whatever it is. But nonetheless, like, that's an authentic, real human experience that I feel like you get in New York. And in Jamaica, like, people are going to come up to you and they're going to say hello to you. People are going to come up to you and start a conversation. People are going to come up to you and try to sell you fruits. And these are like real human interaction and experiences that you have in Jamaica. And I feel like you're taking so much away from that by just kind of being locked up in this community, which, if that is a lifestyle that you're looking for, I don't knock you at all. But I believe that most people do want to go out and experience Jamaica to its fullest, and experience the Jamaican culture to its fullest. Let's keep going through the comments here. Alfonso Worth says, I agree that affordable homes should be around 100 to 150,000, but we Jamaicans have to change our mindset if we're going to take Jamaica to the next level. Jamaica needs higher end real estate. Yeah, I agree. There do needs to be diversification in the product, and these folks, this investment group, is bringing that diversification to the table. And the young lady Renee had actually brought this up, which I thought was a fair point, is that we think like this is expensive now. It's going to get quote unquote worse. And you're seeing the trends, and I've seen it in particular properties in Negril where the value has raised like double-digit percentages within a year, and I imagine, like we're saying, 250 is expensive now. Like, Alfonso is bringing up the example of 100 to 150 is probably more in the affordable housing range, but that is going to change into the 250. And I think we kind of got to go a little bit more upstream with this and figure out, and I think this might be your point, Alfonso, is like, one of your underlying points is, all right, how do we make it so that 150 or 250 is a little bit or a lot more affordable to the average person? And to me, it's creating those job opportunities and bringing economic prosperity to the average Jamaican. It's about figuring out how we do that, because these prices are going to continue to go up. Oh, the comments are coming in hot and heavy. All right, let's keep it moving here. Safi says, why come to Jamaica if you're so secured about the crime? May as well go elsewhere. Not leaving the resort doesn't benefit anyone and them but themselves, but each to their own. $600,000 affordable. Yeah, I don't know. I agree. Rose, if they understood their target market, then they would have known that the project was definitely not affordable housing, as the term goes. Yeah, I think that, and I said that to them as well. I think that term was misused, and maybe, like you said, a little misunderstood, because I do not consider 250,000 to be affordable housing. That is, I would say, in the upper middle class range. You know, if we were to categorize it, Synthwave Process caught the last live stream. No shade towards the developers. They're going to make their money. The luxury market is hugely profitable. People like me must look to other alternatives. Yeah, I think no matter what, again, as long as they know what they're doing and they've done their research, they're going to do, they're going to do relatively okay. I really do question like 200 plus luxury units. Is there a market for that? I mean, it's not our market, I'll tell you that. Even though they're saying that they're going after Jamaicans living abroad, I don't know. Especially when there are, again, other luxury developments that are happening around the country. I'm just like, man, what is the inventory looking like that? What is like right now, like that is, and what are the pre-construction what is the pre-construction inventory like? What is the build out looking like right now? How many developments of this nature are happening? If they're doing 200, the next man is doing 100, you got another one doing 500, and we have 1,000 pre-construction luxury units that are going up throughout Jamaica, or maybe it's more. It's just like, man, you're gonna finding 1,000 multimillionaires to come to Jamaica, maybe it's possible. I don't know. That's not my forte at all. Sonia says, Jamaica is a beautiful country, but you can't be locked away to experience it. Totally agree. Alfonso Worth says, to cater to the business executives that will do business in Jamaica. Jamaica is in its infancy of development. If we're to take Jamaica to the next level, we have to meet the demand for the future. I agree. And so along those lines, Alfonso, one of the things that I was discussing with my friend, and I said this on the live stream, is I'll talk about Negril because I know Negril the best. And me and my brothers, this is quite a few years ago when we were doing one of the first renovation phases of Travelers. And we were consulting with multiple travel partners to try to get an understand of what the demand is like, and then also what the future demand is like in terms of quality of accommodations, rooms, amenities in the hotel. And we were doing our research, doing our market research, and we spoke to a representative from Expedia, and he said, whatever you do, don't go luxury. Negril is just not a luxury market, and the infrastructure just isn't there. And the luxury properties at that time that do exist, it's difficult to get their average ADR, the average room. I'm thinking like YouTube statistics, average daily rate, to what they needed to meet their expectations. Because when you compare, say, a real luxury market like the Bahamas to Negril or to Jamaica, they have certain things already in place. And when you go to the Bahamas and you walk around outside, their roads are paved, they have sidewalks, street lights. In the night, I remember I went for a run at night in the Bahamas, and the infrastructure, it's there. It's a clean little city, Nassau, that I was in. And unfortunately, Negril doesn't have that. Negril isn't as clean as, and I live there. I have property there. But we got to keep it real. Like, Negril is not as clean as it should be. The verges are not cut like on a regular basis as it should be. We don't have like proper lighting on the running and cycling path, like for nighttime. Like, we don't have that. And it sounds simple, but these are the little things that you may not consciously think of when you're coming to on a vacation. But then when you're paying a lot of money for accommodations, for, like, say you're paying like 500 or 700 a night, non all inclusive. Maybe you want to be able to drive around town. Maybe you want to be able to walk and be in a clean place, but Negril doesn't have that. And then that was the Expedia representative's point, is that stuff wasn't there. And I tend to agree with that. And, I'm glad we didn't go in that direction. And, we're going through another round of renovations now. And these are the things that we kind of keep in our mind, and just continuously educating ourselves on the market and what the demand is like, and also where the demand is going, and trying to keep up with that. And so that's why we didn't go luxury. There's not a lot of what I would say all inclusive aside, that is, luxury properties in Negril. Like, there's when I say luxury, I'm talking about like 4 to 5 star, 4.5 to 5 star properties, that are commanding, say, I would say $500-600 per night and above for hotel accommodations, non all inclusive. That's what I would consider a luxury property. It's kind of rare. Rose says, I heard a lot of red flags. Sorry, I gotta get ready to plug in my camera in a sec. Let's keep going. Rose said, I heard a lot of red flags. So did I. Lori 96 Smith says, your guests to me were trying to sell their plans to gentrify Jamaica, and they are the new gentrifiers. Basically, they are going to displaced communities for their own financial gain. I see. I can see what you're saying. And I said that in this conversation as well. It's like, I've seen that happen here in Brooklyn. So I hope it doesn't turn into that. But I can see that happening. Linus says, Drop, you in town, enjoy your time. I do want to invest in Jamaica so bad. Thropex. Rachel A says, mindset can only change when people are given options. Limitations is not a cause for change. The developers did their homework, they will sell. They just came to the wrong live. They don't care. I guess they did. It seemed like they did come to the wrong live stream. They came to the wrong market for sure. Because we're just not their market. Honestly, we're just not their market. Kevin Gainer says, the reality is the market for that kind of development is very niche. Their target market would include a very small portion of Jamaicans, and even in diaspora. Yeah, and I said that to them, and maybe there was a small portion of people that watched that live stream that that development did appeal to. Maybe, but I don't think that. Definitely, without a doubt, in live comments and post live comments, that's not us. That's not us for the most part. That's not us. Alfonso Worth, executives that's planning to do business in Jamaica development Jamaica is developing into a global logistics hub. You'll have Fortune 500 companies, executives, and their business executives in demand for these. Okay, that makes sense. And I think that was like, I said this on the live, and I think that's what we're saying here. It's like, this is not for us. This is not for, even though they were saying this, sorry, 1 second. Even though they were saying like this is for Jamaicans and Jamaicans living abroad, moving to Jamaica. No, you're right, Alfonso. This is for like the executives, like these type of executives in Fortune 500 companies, because that makes more sense to me, And if that's what they said, like this is who this was for, I'm like, okay, that fine, no problem, And I'm glad they were here, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad you're here to tell us about this and what's happening and what's coming, for sure. Because I know, like, if you look at the bringing it back to hospitality and hotel, and if you looked at the Kingston hotel market for many years, many years, they were very underserved in terms of the inventory, the hotel inventory that they had for said executives. So for many years, like, I was like thinking, I'm like in my head, because like I understood it just talking to different people in Kingston. This is like going back to maybe 2014 around. And I remember talking to a lot of people in Kingston and people who travel there for business, and also hoteliers in Kingston. And they were just telling me how that they are like running like, crazy occupancies, like right throughout the year, like 80 something, high 80% occupancy. And they just, and also this is at a time where I would say the average occupancy in the Jamaica for a hotel in Jamaica was, oh, I want to say in the high 50s. I want to say in the high 50s, maybe up to 62%. Like the average occupancy of hotels in Jamaica was 62%. And an entire city was running an average in the high 80s. So they were very, very much higher. And what that was is because they didn't have enough inventory for these executive type people, that everything was being filled. And forget it, if there was an event or something like that in Kingston, like every hotel is filled. But now there are tons of luxury hotel accommodations in Kingston. AC Hotel, AC Marriott, and they have, I believe, a Marriott Residence as well. S Hotel has been there for a while. Then there's a couple of new ones, and of course there are these luxury condos that are going up, and these are the things that these are who they are catering to. These type of global business men and women travelers who are coming here to Jamaica for these purposes. So Alfonso, I believe you're hitting it right on the head. Great point. And again, all things that we need to think about when we're assessing Jamaica and the future of Jamaica, especially when it comes to real estate, residential and commercial. Sonia says, I agree with Safi Anderson. Why come if you want to hide? Shake my head. And I'm not naive. Things need to be balanced, but the needs of regular people need to be met first. I agree. Ocean, good to see you. Thanks for chiming in. Vinci for Life says, the wind is picking up in Negril. This must be the outer band. Also, your dad said hello, standing right next to him. Okay, that's a direct report from what's happening in Negril on the weather and tropical storm Ian. So that's a little bit of an update. Thank you for that, Vinci. Appreciate that. Okay, back to the housing. Alfonso Worth says, housing, we have to change our mindset. Jamaica's aiming big, and we must get on board and start accepting the great economic changes coming to Jamaica. I agree, Alfonso, but again, it's just like I hope, and as I said before, especially as it relates to the global logistics hub that is coming to Jamaica, I hope that it affects every little boy and girl, their future, their education, future generations. Like that's what I hope, and I hope it's not going to be only a select few people who really benefit from this. Carla, good to see you. And yes, like and share. That definitely really helps if you're enjoying this conversation and you feel like other people should be hearing this and be a part of this. Send them a link and ask them to join us. More the merrier. And please hit the like button. That definitely helps. K Natural, good to see you. Synthwave Pro says the project is located within Hanover, near the parish of St. James. Calling it Negril Villa Estates was a bit of a stretch. I get the importance of keywords, but just keep it 100 though. Yeah, so even Grand Palladium, which is in Lucy, they say they're in Negril. That goes to show you the power of branding and the power of using the name Negril. And like, I don't know how we protect that, but there's no way that place should be called Negril. Like that is messed up, and we have to be able to protect that. There's no way to call that place Negril. It's damn near in Montego Bay, like right as you said, Synthwave, on the border of St. James and Hanover. You know, there's got to be a way that we can protect that. To call Grand Palladium Negril, come on. You're using our name, image, and likeness to your advantage, and you have nothing to do with it. Sorry. Sonia Ross says, you don't want the society to be socially stratified along socioeconomic lines. No, that's exactly what we're running from. Kevin Gainier says, Synthwave Pro, agree. That caught me off guard as well. Stanley Franklin, good to see you. New York in the house. I'm here with you, brother, in Brooklyn. T says, a place I rent in St. Mary, the view and the breeze is now blocked by a new high-rise building. How many floors is this project? So I think I don't think this is a high-rise project. I believe these are villas. And they had mentioned penthouse villas. So I'm not sure how high they're going, but I believe, it's 110 acres, 100 and something acres, to put 200 units on 100 and something acres, like everybody's getting a nice piece of land, even with green space and parking, there is enough that everybody has like a standalone house with a yard and everything like that. So I don't necessarily see the need to go high. I don't think it's going to go that high. Thank you, Lorraine. Lee Kuan Yew, like that was the prime minister of Singapore. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Alfonso says, Rachel, the government of Jamaica is committed to constructing 70,000 housing solutions for our people from the bottom to the top within the next 5 years. I hope that happens. T said workers need to unite. Luxury development wanting low wage workers only angers people. Agreed. Mr. Info, there is a gentleman by the name of Joseph Patterson that was saying Jamaica could be the Singapore of the Caribbean and Americas. That's right. That's right. That seems to be the direction that it's heading. Let's be real. The developers are here. And they are here to stay. And development. That live was a reality check. I totally agree. So how do we adapt to that realism? That's where the mindset has to be. Totally agree. And like I would say, that is the conclusive statement of that live stream. That is the conclusive statement about the subject matter that we're talking about right now. Alfonso is saying this as well, is that we need to change our mindset because it's coming, it's happening. Like there's nothing we can do about it. I don't think there is a point in complaining about it. We can, but to what end? What is the point? What are we trying to accomplish? And I do think like I don't consider what we're doing now complaining. We're having discussions and we're also, I think, having some of us an epiphany about what's happening. And I think people are upset and rightfully so. And we're saying, what the heck? Who is this for? Who are these people coming in? Who's buying this? Who's taking over our country? Where do we go? What do we buy? What kind of houses are we going to put in for ourselves when we retire? Or if we want our kids to come to Jamaica and move there, we can't afford this. And so I think that is like the mindset that we should really adapt at this point and figure out, okay, these are the cards that are being dealt to us. What are we going to do about it? Like it's happening. It's happening. They're not going anywhere, like Rachel says. And we just need to figure out what we're going to do about it and how we're going to adjust and how we're also going to benefit, not from a selfish standpoint, but from a point of our families and our generations moving forward. And then the Jamaican people who are our families and the future generation. And, and that's the way that I'm thinking about it. But very, very good point, Rachel. That is really where our minds should be going at this point. I really think that is true. Supreme says, Throp, love your discussion, but is there any downside to these new developments? I mean, their target audience is strictly overseas. Will this intensify the brain drain in the island? Will it intensify the brain drain in the island? I mean, the downside is really that I look at this, like things like this is gentrification. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, let's call it what it is. There's no doubt about it. It is gentrification happening in our own country. And I think that that's what people are feeling. And for people who live in cities where this has happened already, I keep saying New York, I've heard it happen in Boston. I've heard it happen in Toronto. You have these foreign nationals coming in, buying up these prime real estates and raising the rents and the housing prices. I heard it happening in Vancouver. And so when you see it and feel it happen in these cities that you live in, and then you see it happening in your own country, at least like I believe it was Alfonso saying that we're in the infantile stages of this, which I really believe that we are, and you can see it happening to your own country, then you get upset about it. And you're like, what the heck? How is this happening in Jamaica too, where you plan on living, where you plan on retiring, where you plan on going or spending extended periods of time for vacation with your family? And so I would say that is the downside of it, and you kind of wish that there were more developers that are kind of going more after the average person. And what that average price point is, I'm not sure. And I think to Little Bay Country Club in Negril, which I've done several videos on, I believe their prices are, the 2-bedroom that I looked at, I think was just under, man, I want to say about 400,000 and change. US. And people thought that was very expensive. And they were like, you're getting nothing for it, da 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 da. And I agree, it's expensive. It is expensive for sure. But I did this almost 2 years ago, this video. And boy, I tell you, those prices are going to continue to go up, continue to go up. And I remember even when Little Bay Country Club first started, it was their pre-construction, I want to say was around 300,000, maybe slightly less than that. And people were like, hey, it's way too much. But man, that place sold out, sold out. But I think that is a lot more reasonable, a lot more reasonable than what we're talking about here. I think we're talking about apples and oranges at this point. But I'm just trying to, bring a mindset to the table that prices are going to continue to rise. And there's little to nothing that we can do about that. Andrew Blake says, when it comes to land grabs, it's a case of why, of not who, but when. I don't like it, but you either have to decide to buy pretty soon, like in the next 2 to 3 years, or you may miss out in the area you want. You hit it on the head, Andrew. You hit it right on the head. Because it's happening. It sounds, I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but it's happening. Very little that we can do about it. And I think, and I would encourage people to move along the timelines of Andrew and what he's saying. And I will also say, like Wendy did, the person, the realtor that was on the call on the live stream, she did bring up the idea of investing, not necessarily as an individual, but as a group in something like this and looking at it as an investment property. And I thought that was a very good point that she made, and suggestion that perhaps, yeah, maybe you as an individual can't afford $1 million luxury villa, but hey, maybe a group of friends can pool their money, invest in this, in a luxury villa, and start renting it out for $3,000 a night or whatever it is, and do that as a group, a small group of investors, and make your money back that way. Maybe that's how you get into it. And 2 to 3 years is a short. That's a short timeline. That's very, very, very short, especially to raise this kind of capital. And maybe you weren't thinking of that. Maybe your timeline was 10 years from now. And I don't mean to scare anybody like that, but it's something to think about. Maybe we just need to think about moving our timelines up a little bit more, because this was eye-opening, as Rachel said earlier, as Andrew is saying now. It's just one of those things, as Alfonso continues to say in the chat as well. Supreme says, will this push locals / young people deeper into poverty and out of ownership? Will it push them deeper into poverty? I'm not sure, but could it push people out of ownership? For sure, for sure, for sure. I would say, like, on the other side of the coin, like going back to what I was saying before, it's like, how does this create opportunity for the average Jamaican? And, what kind of jobs are they getting? What kind of careers can they build off of something like this? And it may be nothing. And, there may be like, no, I'm sorry, we only have service jobs. We only have construction jobs for, X amount of months, 24 months, 36 months, or whatever it is. And that's it. And they go on and find something else. Maybe it's just a band-aid to help people in that moment for the construction. But is it going to push people into poverty? I'm not sure. It could, but I can't say that directly that it will. Alfonso Worth says, Rachel, all Jamaicans pay national housing tax, so the government gives each qualified contributors 6.5 million. That's 6.5 million Jamaican, and a zero interest rate to acquire these homes, and up to 3 family members can apply. So this is for the affordable housing. This is for the can fall under the umbrella of the 70,000 affordable homes that the government is planning to build in the next 5 years. So this is how you can qualify for that. When you pay your contributions to NHT. And so that to me is like, that's like the way, and we talk about this all the time, is having proper affordable housing, concrete structures, not living in tin shack roofs, sort of thing, and not living in informal communities, like none of that. Having running water, having electricity that you don't have to steal, um, that sort of thing. And then also being able to afford your utility bills at the end of the month. You have the zero interest loan for $6.5 million, like that sort of thing. It's just like, all right, how much money? I don't know this math off the top of my head, but how much money do you have to bring in on a fortnightly or weekly or monthly basis to afford these types of homes? Not just giving to them. Like, these are all the questions that run through my head when I hear these things, when I think about these things, is sustainability. And of course, in the initial factor is getting them these houses and moving away from these informal communities, which there are so many of that I can think of in Negril. Literally thousands of people live in these communities, and I think we have an obligation to really help them. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Starta says that's what happened to Falmouth after Road 2000 decimated the economy there. They put a dock ships come and they cut off the town center. There's a lot of development in Falmouth. That's what it used to be. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. There was a lot of construction there, and from what I understand, a lot of the construction workers, after it was done, they formulated these informal communities in that area. And I know that happened in Negril after they built one of the new hotels in Negril that employed a lot of construction workers. There were these informal communities formulated naturally afterwards, after the construction. So it's these things that we think about. These are the byproducts of when you have these massive construction projects without, I would say, a post-construction sustainable plan in place. They're no longer there, but it was a problem for a bit. I can tell you that. Supreme says, should legislation be introduced to safeguard the locals and increase opportunities for the average Jamaican? Yes, I talked about that on a previous live, essentially saying that when these developments and these foreign nationals come in with these big bucks, that they're going to, and don't get it twisted at all, these people are going to make shiploads of money, just container loads of money from Jamaica, because of just how well poised that we are. And then also the precedent is set. There's already many, many companies who are making loads and loads and loads of money off Jamaica and off of brand Jamaica, which is all fine, well and good, free market, free economy, and that's the way it should work. But from a selfish standpoint, from the point of Jamaican nationals, what can we put in place to ensure that a large percentage, I won't say large, but a good percentage of that money goes towards the sustainability of the economy, of, say, schools, of healthcare, like these things that are very important and could be crippling aspects to the society and the crippling to the forward movement and upliftment of Jamaica as a whole. And so how can we put either legislation or within the deals and with the contracts that are signed that like certain money every year, and like I'm not thinking about one-time things. Like, I don't want, like okay, yeah, we build the school and that's it. This company comes in and they're making, again, tens of millions of dollars every year off of Jamaica, and they only come in and build a school, which is great. Let's clap our hands for that. But they're making money forever, forever. And so we have to make sure, in my opinion, I think there should be a situation where they're contributing X amount of dollars every year to sustain that school, to sustain teachers' salary. And like, this is how we grow our society, and this is how we push our society forward. It's like in my mind, putting these things in place to really help the country. And again, not a select few tiny percentage of people are companies. Lori 96 Smith says, we see the gentrification has done to Brooklyn, likewise areas like Brixton and Peckham in London. These areas were highly populated by predominantly the Jamaican community, and their presence is gone. Yep, we see it all the time. Kevin Gainier says 200 plus luxury units. The competition from the other developers? ? I feel like inventory might sit for a while. Yep, we talked about that. That's a very, very real possibility. Again, if they don't understand the market, if they have not, and I give them the benefit of the doubt that they did do that. They do understand the demand. They also understand current inventory levels. They also understand current in progress pre-construction inventory that's happening right now. Where will inventory status be upon the completion of their project? What is that competition going to look like? Because again, we don't want to have these dormant, incomplete facilities that are eyesores on a community, that become these places for informal communities. And we've seen it many times throughout Jamaica, even up to this day. Great point. Chris PW says, Lorraine, yep, grew up in Brixton, over 1 million now for basic properties. My parents' age group all gone. There you go. T says the panel didn't say where the affordable homes would be located. No, they didn't. They said all over, so it just tells me like a lot of planning and thought hasn't been put into that at that point, which is fine, but that wasn't their priority in that conversation. That was clear. Rose says, I didn't hear them give a clear answer as to how many pre-construction sales they already had. I asked that question. It didn't seem like they had any at this point. They didn't have any. I also think that they're also in the beginning stages as well. We asked for a website several times. They gave us a website that was not directly associated. It wasn't the website that we were looking for. I believe, Alfonso, you're the one that was asking about that, and it didn't lead anywhere. And they said they were working on that. I asked about pre-construction sales. Hard to do without an architectural rendition. At this point, they're supposed to start construction in early January, 2023. All of that, to me, that's, we're basically in October, November, December, January. We're 90 days out, almost just about 90 days out from construction, and there's no architectural rendition, because that's what's going to sell anybody on pre-construction is how organized are you? What is the developer's track record? Who has the contract for the construction? What is their history? What is their experience? These are the things that sell people on basically nothing. You're just saying, do you have titles? And sometimes you don't necessarily, take titles out of it. You can buy title, like you don't necessarily need the title, but these are the things that really give confidence in somebody putting down a $500,000 down payment or $250,000 is how organized are you? How do you have this, that, and the third in place? And I don't think, like, when I asked that question directly, I didn't get a direct answer. So my assumption was they don't necessarily have any pre-construction sales at this point. I also asked about the who has the construction contract, and they said there was multiple contractors, local and international. So I don't know. That says a lot on its own. I'd say that says a lot on its own. And hey, they just might not be there. They just might not be there at this point, and it doesn't seem like it. But it's something to, a little question mark goes up when you hear these things and you don't have like these direct answers, and they might not be there, which could mean nothing or could mean everything, and they have their way of doing it, and they have their processes, and I'm sure they're going to work through it. But again, I hope it's successful, because the other thing is, like, we don't want it to be semi-successful in terms of, again, having these empty ghost buildings that I just didn't work out, sort of thing. Hello, Ingrid. Good to see you. Thanks for chiming in from Orlando. Mr. Info says, Throp, you're speaking facts. The infrastructure is not there. Dale saying hello from Virginia. Good to see you. Junior Char says, good afternoon, Throp. Remember, they said they are in talks with the government to do 20,000 affordable homes, which this administration needs social housing. Right. So even that, I'm like, okay. I just want I would like to know like who in government they're talking to, what ministry I would say, and you need a lot of sign off on these developments, like a lot of sign offs. Like the first thing that you need, like, and I'm assuming they've had a feasibility study done, which costs tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, that's probably nothing to them. If they're I'm sure there's nothing, but like that's one of the first thing that you need if you're going to do any development. You got to go through NEPA before the first rock is turned over. I mean, even doing development at like something at the hotel, we have to apply to NEPA. You have to get signed off by the National Environmental Planning Agency. And so that has to, like, if they were really to start construction in January, all that has to be signed off on, and that alone takes months. And I know that because, and I was very involved in this process close to 10 years ago when my father was trying to build a hospital for Negril, and NEPA was everything. You have to get sign off on it, and rightfully so. Their mandate is to protect the environment of Jamaica, and to make sure that there is as little effect on and any development has as little effect on the environment and the local ecosystem. And without that, you ain't doing nothing. So that can take some time. That in itself has a very bureaucratic process. And so I'm assuming they've done that already. I'm assuming they've done their feasibility study on you know this being a successful development. So I'm giving all of that. Um, Again, I don't know. They didn't say. No, I don't necessarily need to know who they spoke with, but what ministries are they in talks with, and what has been signed, because again, we're 90 days out. Supreme says intensify the brain drain as qualified locals realize they can't afford and have to leave as the socioeconomic gap widens. That's a very good point. That could be the reality. That could literally be the reality. I hope that that's not the case, and I hope there is a situation and reality created where the average person becomes the priority. The accommodation and housing for the average person in Jamaica becomes a priority for the for developers and for investors, again, that I think can make tons of money off of this market, because that is one, and we talk about this all the time in this live, is just like, especially in Negril, like there is no middle class housing in Negril. We don't have it, and it's so needed. Like the inventory is so low in Negril, and to me, it's like if these people come and literally cut their prices in half, like they sell out like that. They'd sell out like that. Like there's no question, there's no doubt about it. And maybe this conversation will spark that thought into their head, kind of thing. But they're gonna do their thing, and we continue to wish them the best. Junior Char says, and maybe their 20,000 affordable homes come with kickbacks for the luxury home development. So they're pitching from early. Gotcha. Supreme says, I feel what the local developers should examine the long-term effects. Countries like uh Seychelles, I don't even know what I'm saying there, Bermuda and Hawaii had their local population replaced with foreigners. Jamaica risk losing culture. Yeah, that's a real fear. I don't think that's going to happen, but is it possible? For sure. Rachel says, at Alfonso, I'm glad you see and are optimistic about the future of Jamaicans. Let's talk in 5 years. Yes. Chris PW, are these developments not going to add to Jamaicans' finances, which help the countries as a whole? It depends on how it's set up, Chris. And I was thinking from a sustainable standpoint, again, is like, yeah, we get these construction jobs for X amount of months and maybe a few years, but what are the construction workers going to do? What is the sustainable opportunities that are created from developments of this nature? Like these are my questions. It's also not a bad thing. I would hope, again, in terms of like the default is thinking is like these developers and these realtors, they've done their market study and they're going to get tons of people to move into these facilities, right? But as the developer said, Marlon said, like it's like their goal is to keep everybody within that gated community and have everything there for them, and they don't have to leave. And so when I hear that, I'm like, okay, the money is being concentrated only in this one development. It's not designed in a way for people to go out and enjoy Jamaica and stay in different accommodations, local places, and spend their money on the streets and do this and do that. Yeah, they're buying groceries but it's staying in a concentrated, contained environment. That's the way that it was presented, and that's kind of the way that I understood it, almost like an all-inclusive for residents. And that's literally the motto that was mentioned, is they're doing this hotel resident style accommodation that they have in places like Florida, and we've seen it before. I don't know if they have. Do we have anything like that in Jamaica? I'm not sure, and I can say that this is a motto that we were considering, not at this level, trust me, that we were considering for developing across the street from Travelers, is a hotel slash residence. But it's not with the goal of keeping people inside of their residence. It's with the goal of having modern accommodations with the amenities and services of a hotel. That was the model that we were thinking about doing. Ingrid says, yes, those homes were not for Jamaicans. They are catering for foreigners. There's no doubt about that. Rose, I didn't hear them give a clear answer as to how many pre-construction sales they already have and what it could be done that would be a good indication of the need. I addressed that recently. I hope you heard that part, Rose. They didn't answer that directly. I'm not sure if they have any. Safi Anderson, I remember when people thought Richmond Estates in St. Anne was expensive. Reselling at 350,000 US seems like a steal now. There you go. Rachel says, let's see what happens to educated Jamaicans. Let's see who stays and who leaves. Let's see police officers and teachers gain from all this. I hope that becomes the case. I really do. And that's what I would like to have happen. Junior Char says, on the north coast from St. Mary to St. James, a lot of gated communities are being developed with the amenities competitions. So it looks like they're trying to capture the St. James to Hanover market. Yeah, I see a lot of them, especially along the main road, the main highway. Mosaic, good to see you. Dieter Morgan says, as a Jamaican-born Canadian living in Vancouver, $200,000 for a home in places as desirable as Jamaica is affordable. That said, Jamaica needs to be carefully control foreign real estate investment. Agreed. I think that's what we're all saying here, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Ingrid says, Throp, is it possible to find any developers who's building affordable homes for middle-income earners? That's kind of what I'm saying here. I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem like there is. Sorry, I got to plug my computer. It doesn't seem like there is a focus on that necessarily of middle income earners, at least in the West, And let me ask you, like, what do you think is an affordable middle income price point? I'll ask you all in the chat. What is an affordable home? Alfonso said, little affordable housing is 100 to 150,000. What would you say would be like a middle income housing price point for someone? I'd like to get kind of just a general understanding of that. Kay saying maybe we need to look forward and create these affordable homes. Maybe we do. Ingrid says it's happening in Puerto Rico as well. Treasure Best says, hey everyone from the UK. Hope everyone is having a nice Sunday. Yes, we are. T says builders say it's not profitable to build middle income homes. How can that be possibly true, right? If that's what they're saying, how is that true? Because there is a demand for it. There's like a real need for it. So people are going to buy them, you know. Donna Bryce says, is Ocean Point and Lucy more reasonable? So that was going, so I looked into that. Let me convert this to US. So they were going for, I believe, and anybody can correct me in the crowd, I believe 17 million Jamaican, which right now is about 117,000 US dollars. This was maybe 3 years ago. I know those same homes are at about 22 million US dollars right now. And now that's up to, did I do that? 150,000 US. Let me make sure I did that right. Hold on. Sorry. So started at 17 million, 117. It's up to 150,000 US. That seems like more reasonable. And these are, I believe that is a two bedroom home, if I'm not mistaken. Supreme says legislation can be introduced. Take Tanzania, for example. You can't buy real estate without partnering with a local or have established business that hire 1 to 100 citizens. Yeah, I don't think Jamaica is at that point yet. We're still looking to attract different investors. Maybe we need to get to that at some point. Wayne Malcolm says gentrification in Brixton, London too. Ingrid says 400,000 is way too high, even for those of us living out of the diaspora. I agree. Kevin Gainier says, Donna Bryce, Ocean Point in Lucy is definitely more reasonable for the average buyer. Agreed. Ingrid says family members definitely need to take a look into pooling their money together in order to purchase one of these homes. Berrydale says, hi, signing in from UK. Yep. I feel it's good to see development happening in JA and throughout the islands. That said, if people can afford to purchase / buy and live, then the minimum wage needs to be reviewed. Yep. I think she meant can't afford. Sorry. Andrew Blake says a lot of land where people in Negril is captured. What will happen to them? So, sorry, cooking going on in the back. So, there's plans in place to move those folks to, and they've already have this land set aside, but move these folks to these informal settlements, to these formal settlements with concrete modern structures. And it's already happened. So where the fruit and vegetable market is the new one that is being located downtown Negril along Nampro Road. And I got to bring up my map here. I love bringing up this map, right? They moved. Actually, I don't know where they moved those specific folks, right? But sorry, I'm just trying to pull it up so we can see where we're looking at. So I can show you all, and I know we're commenting on the affordable housing prices that I asked for, but I'm going to get down that in a second. So here's Negril, right? Let me take down that comment. So this is just so everybody has an idea. So this is the beach here. So this is Norman Manley Boulevard, the road going up and down over here. This is the 5 mile strip, and then this is the 2 mile strip. This is Travelers Beach Resort here towards downtown. And we're going to go zoom in a little bit. And this is the Omega Hospital. And I forgot to mention the hospital is actually open. And I think I said 2 weeks ago that it wasn't. And it actually is open. I visited it last week, as a matter of fact. Beautiful facility. At some point, we can definitely get into it. I don't want to get into it right now, but they're doing a bunch of scans. They have doctors, nurses, etc. Very, very, very nice facility. Huge positive for Negril. They do MRI. They have an MRI machine that is going to be operating next month, which is phenomenal, because now to get MRIs, we have to go all the way to Montego Bay. Like, I've had multiple MRIs on my knees, my ankles, from running, etc. So this is amazing that these facilities are right in Negril. I'm not in Negril right now, but we'll touch on that at some point. But I just want to let everybody know that this hospital is open. Okay, back to the informal settlements here. So this is downtown Negril. This is the roundabout over here on the left, to the left of your screen. This is South Negril River just on the top. And then this is Nampro Road, where the mouse is going along here. This is the fire station here. It's a basketball court where we used to play basketball when I played basketball. This is the Negril Mini Stadium, which is, I guess that's technically Whitehall, I think. And this is the bus park here, Negril Bus Park. And then as you go further east over here, you get, these are like a lot of informal settlements on both sides of this road, sorry. And this is where the fruit and vegetable, hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, so this is where the fruit and vegetable market is currently being constructed. And then a lot of this over here is informal settlements, a lot of this. And this is downtown Negril, and this is prime real estate. This is prime real estate. A lot of people live here. There's a lot of people that have been raising their families here, as a matter of fact, for decades, and multiple generations of families. All this back here, a lot of informal settlements. And you can't in any way just come here and just kick these people out. And you can't come here and tell them that they have to leave, because they've been here forever. And this is where I would say, when we look to point our fingers at the government, this sort of stuff, I'm like, okay, you guys have failed. Like, for sure. It's just like, how can you allow this to happen? Because the private sector has no way of touching this, has no way of even remotely dealing with this. And this is like the unfortunate, and so I would say, when I look at like disappointing aspects of Negril, it's just like, how can you allow this to happen? And so now you better give them places that are way better. Like, it, to me, it has to be highly incentivized that you move these people. If you're going to move these folks who have been here for years and you've allowed them to stay there for decades, you're going to have to move them into much better accommodations. And it has to be something, and it can't be fluff. It can't be just like a marketing selling point. It has to be, in a way, move them to a place where they feel like their life is changing, that they feel that they're going to be part of the formal society, and they're going to have a real home. Their children are going to have real opportunities in their education and in life in general. And that is way better than them being here. And again, from what I understand, there is a development that has already been allocated for that. But it can't be a situation where you just get up and you kick these people out. Like, no, you've allowed them to stay there for 10, 20 years, whatever it is. And you've allowed them to establish themselves in these parts. And now you need the land to do whatever, which I agree needs to be done, but it needs to be done in the right way. It needs to be done in a way that it is better for them. And you got to pay them. I think you got to pay them. You got to pay them. Not only give them the house, but you got to give them some money. Got to give them some, give them some stocks or something like that in Jamaica Stock Exchange. Like, you want to give them an opportunity to have a financially sustainable life for them and their family, and also helping them to understand the importance of building wealth for generations to come. My personal opinion, but that is the informal settlements that we're talking about in downtown. This is a lot of prime real estate that is happening over here along Nampro Road and going into Whitehall. All right, let's pull down the map here. Okay, I'm back. Okay, let's get back to the comments here. All right, let's go down to these housing prices real quick. I saw some. I asked a question about middle income housing. Let me try and get the beginning here. Okay, Joe says U.S. middle income housing $250,000. Nadine GR says 250,000 to 300,000. Chris PW, you should invite people from the audience to join you live. Come through. I would love for anybody to come on that wants to come on. Let's go. If you want to come on live, just let me know. Shoot me an email and I'll send you a link. thropmedia.com. So let me know. Come on. I'd love to have anybody on that wants to come on. Good idea. I have my phone here, so if I see an email come in, we can bring you on. Let's see what other prices. Project 16 Jamaica says 250 to 300,000. Beach Life says middle income with two parent income 300 to 350,000. K says 180 to 250. In USA 50,000 per year USD a year. Ingrid says 200,000 to 350,000 middle income earners drop. Ocean Point says, Nadine GR says Ocean Point going for 25 million above. Yes, it's gone up even from the 22 million I said. So I believe you on that. Max and Relaxing says High Throp and all just joined, I think 250,000 max, but getting hard to find in the US for new developments. Alfonso Worth says middle income 150 to 300,000. Supreme says middle income has to be 250 to 350,000 per annum due to double mortgage payments. Let's see any other numbers here. So I think that's fair. I think that gives us kind of what everybody's had. You know, we got the low end being 150, high end being 350. You know, let's call it around 250, 200 to 275 is middle income. Just back of the paper calculations here. It seemed, it seemed like around the 200 would be an average, which I think is fair. I think that's a fair assessment. I'm trying to, and I'm pausing to think. Is like, is there anywhere in the only place in Negril? And when we say these price points of 200, say 250, 275, 350 in the higher range, only place in Negril that is hitting that right now is Point Village, and it's not even new construction. When you go down to the aqueducts, you're 300 plus at that point. You're not on the beach. And I would say with Point Village, it's not new construction, but you're right on the beach. It's gated community. It's quiet. You got a walking path. You are attached to the 5 Mile beach as well. So you can walk all the way downtown on the beach if you need. So yeah, but a new development, new construction, the grow that meets that price point doesn't exist. Doesn't exist outside. No, it doesn't exist. Great place. I think it's well poised. Well poised. I will bring up. Man, I always forget the name of the development. Let me see. Just remember West Isles. That's the name of it. We talked about this development. It's not in Negril, but it is pretty much Little London. I would say 15 minutes from Negril. I'll bring it up here so everybody can see it. One sec. All right. So this is West Isle development. And sorry, I just want to get to the price so we can speak within context. All right. So boom. 2 bedrooms starting at 203,000. 3 bedroom is sold out, but I want to see if I can get the price on that. Okay. So I think this really brings a lot of context to our conversation right now. And so this is the lot size is between 6,000 and 8,500 square feet, 2 bedroom, 2 bath. This is the layout right here. Let's go through some pictures here. Let's see if we can get the big screen. Very nice. This is a sample house, I believe. I've been here, but I haven't gone inside the house. Me and my dad drove here a few months ago just to check out the development. Pretty nice design and modern accommodations, no doubt. This looks beautiful to me. This looks very, very nice. Already went through these pictures. Um, Maybe I'll play that as a break. So this is where it is. So this is Negril downtown. We can bring up the map, the layer. This is where it is. This is downtown Negril. You're probably looking at about 15-minute drive. I timed it. My dad swore it was 15 minutes. I was like, no way, it's half an hour. And he was 100% right. It was 15-minute drive to the roundabout from where this is. And so you're 15 minutes from the beach, as I would say. This is what it looks like from the outside. I believe this is the one we drove up to. And this is the development. Let's see if we could zoom out a little bit. This is the we can do that. This is the outline of the development. So it's 27 lots, and there is a lot of room for expansion. I'm just seeing a picture here. So if you look at on either side of the development, there is a lot of land for it to be expanded. But this kind of goes to show you the need for housing in the grow. And from what I understand, the sales are going very well for this development. But this shows you the extreme need for middle income housing. And this hits the exact price point that we just talked about and that everybody was agreeing to. And what would people be willing to pay for something like this, literally in the grill? Not necessarily on the beach. I don't think there is any land available this size that you can build on the beach. I don't. I of all, like, I know Negril pretty well. I don't think there's anything like that. And definitely not anything that you can meet this price point, new construction. Like, if you do this on the beach, each one of those are $1 million, hands down. But in Negril, even if you're thinking West End, um, maybe across the road on the Morass side, you can do something like this. And this one, so again, as far as I understand, they're doing fairly well in respect to sales, and it speaks to the demand, the high demand of and need for middle income housing in Negril. And this is 15 minutes outside of Negril, and it's being developed, and it's hitting, again, 3 bedroom. 3 bedroom has been sold out. 2 bedroom, 203,000. And it's going to continue to go up, and the value is going to continue to go up. And mind you, there's a very large development that's going to be taking place in Little Bay, which is, let's bring up that map. Oops, hold on. Let me make sure I know what I'm talking about here. Where did it go? Okay, West Isle. So Little Bay, where is Little Bay? Little Bay is basically back. Oh, here it is. Okay. Little Bay is like back here. So remember, there's a big development that is happening in Little Bay, and it's coming. I believe they said, a $5 billion development that's happening back there. $5 billion development, US. And this is where West Isle is. So you drive back here, very, very close proximity. For anybody that hasn't been back here, it is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. On top, there's a lot of controversy happening with Little Bay. I mean, stunningly, stunningly beautiful. If you've been to Jam West and you've had the opportunity to do the ATV ride, which I have, it's so gorgeous, so untapped, completely untapped. And that's why they're doing a development back there. But again, this really hits the point home about the need for this type of accommodation and this type of housing. And it seems like they're going to do very well. Seems like they're going to do very well. All right, let's get back to the chat here. Let's bring this down. All right, let's get to some new chats here. Joe asks, how much will the Little Bay housing cost? I don't know. It's supposed to be like an all-encompassing, from what I understand, like an all-encompassing development. There's a hotel aspect to it as well. I think that's where a lot of the money is going towards, luxury hotel buildings. Let's keep going here. I know I missed a lot of. Okay, let's go back up to some of these comments that I missed. All right. Misan says, with developments, there are opportunities. We just need objective, I think I was trying to say. K Denpat says, are there any groups for diasporans to invest in housing? I join. I think we'd have to develop that privately. I don't know of any off the top of my head. Jenny Strachan says, it's the same in the UK. The young people can't afford to buy, so still living with parents. It's a global thing. Beach Life says, at these rising costs, what is the solution for a returning family of four? Can you purchase more home in a certain states in the US for the same price that is being charged in Jamaica for less? I think it could be also, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are other options, right? There are other options that we can do. You can go and buy, there's many opportunities in many places in Jamaica that you can buy land and you can build your house. That's I think that's always going to be an option. But I think a lot of people want turnkey solutions. They don't want to go through the rigmarole of doing construction and building their home. That can be a nightmare. I've been in nightmare situations with construction. I've heard of many nightmares of people sending money to Jamaica and having their cousin or their brother be the foreman and take the money, or their friend or a trusted confidant, and they end up losing their shirt. It's a story that happens over and over. It's a story that continues to be told. And I always tell people, if you're going to build your home in Jamaica and you're going to send down money, I recommend not doing that. You can, no matter who it is. I've heard so many stories. I always say, if you can come down for extended periods of time, 2, 4, 6 weeks, whatever it is per year, during that time, use that as your opportunity to build your home. And then when you're ready, and when you leave, stop construction, put everything inside the containers, go home. But sending that money down, tough, unless you have a really good contractor. And I've worked with great contractors here that you can trust, that are professional. But a lot of us do it in ways with, the friend down the road kind of. It can be really bad. It can be really bad. Unprofessional contractors as well. So just be wary of that. Berrydale, there's a young vlogger, Rachel, and who has an approach similar to the tiny home approach as done in the US. Maybe that concept could work in parts of JA for startups of youngers. Yeah, I know you're talking about. We talked about her before. Rasha Lynn, I think that's Rasha Lynn. Yeah, she's yeah. I haven't kept up with her series, but she's doing very well in bringing that concept to Jamaica, at least through her YouTube community. Ocean Gray, are you aware of the Little London Estates community? I'm communicating with someone who claimed that he is the builder. Oh yeah, that's the one we just went over. Sorry, I was probably a little late with that comment. Ocean Gray. Synthwave Pro, foreign buyers were influenced in Van City's current housing unaffordability crisis. The same is happening in JA. We missed the boat. JA is great, but other countries are far more affordable. Yeah, JA is expensive. Jamaica is expensive. There's no running. There's no hiding from that at all. Yeah, I've heard about Vancouver City and what's happening with that, and that becoming very unaffordable. My Hall says it's raining on the west end now. That's another weather update from Tropical Storm Ian. When we started, there was no rain, no wind, no nothing. So that's the second report that we got. And thank you very much, Maya Hall. I appreciate the update. Please continue to keep us updated on what's happening in Negril. Linda, thank you for chiming in from Orlando. Jermaine Jackson says, hey, Throp, listening to the previous video, no, you said it was expensive and who will be able to afford it at those prices. One was built in St. Anne and was sold out in a few weeks. One bedroom, 600,000. Okay, that's another price point there. Another data point, I should say. And Jermaine Jackson says 3-bedroom, 2.5 million. Wow. That's incredible. Do you know the name of that development? I'd love to look into that, Jermaine. Kay says, got to better vet though. These folks don't want to waste our time. For sure. Barry Dale says, another thing to consider to a community infrastructure build is the quality over quantity. Very important to know who the construction contract is given to as well. Ingrid says, Jermaine Jackson, those were probably purchased by corporations. Chris PW says, Throp was just a marketing exercise, man. No way they will be starting or finishing on time. Yeah, my friend said that the same thing. Like he thought the same thing. Like, this was a marketing exercise. Leave it at that. Stanley Franklin says, Throp, these guys weren't 100% upfront. Fair enough. Chris PW, if you don't even have a website before speaking to a community, I would be wary. I think that's fair as well. I think that's very, very fair point. Very, very fair point. Chris PW says, usually developments have to give an allocation for social housing. I also think that should be in the contract as well for signing up with these developers sign, because you have it in New York, you have it in every major city that a certain percentage is for social development, and that a certain amount of the inventory that they build has to be under a certain price point, and you can't hold back on any amenities or any type of aspects of the accommodation, but you have to make it affordable, because that sort of thing really can change a small family. Really can change a small family who has a lower income. Rose says, I'm texting and driving. I thought I deleted that. Oops. Okay. Stop driving and stop texting. Please, Rose, just listen. We'll try and get to your points. We don't want anything to happen to you. Please. No text and drive. Alfonso Worth says, selling these luxury developments won't be a problem. Ambani Estate, that's being constructed right behind the American Embassy in Kingston, is already sold out. The price starts at 1.8 million. I think I heard about that one. I agree. Yep, I agree. I hope that that's the case. I really do. And I think what you're saying to your earlier point, Alfonso, is like we need to be thinking about this is happening, this is coming, nothing we can do about it. But how are we going to better position ourselves for these inevitabilities that are coming? Stanley Franklin says, guys, if you build a 10-bedroom house in Jamaica, you will get a buyer. And if you build a 1-bedroom house, you will also get buyers. Fair point. Beach Life says, if these folks were in front of investors that would have their ducks in a row, if you don't have your plans down, location, website, etc., they shouldn't waste folks' time with that affordable talk. Yeah, it sounds like they were kind of premature, for sure. They didn't have a lot of things in place. Let's not beat around the bush. Yeah, they're very premature in that sense. But irrespective of that, I did learn a lot, and I'm glad. I'm very, 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 very happy that we were able to present this to the community and understand the thinking and the mindset behind developers of this caliber and of this market that they're going after. I think this is a huge takeaway and gives us a huge understanding of where the continued and forward movement of Jamaica housing and Jamaica real estate is heading in. I think that's very, very important takeaway that we can take from this. Barry Dale says there must come a point when it is said that the lush landscaping has reached its capacity, therefore reduce developments and move to the community requirements in schools, hospitals. I think it should be the opposite. I think that should be prioritized and then have developers come in. But can't get everything we want, right? But very good point, Barry Dale. Very good point. Kay says Love JA has high requirements to building, but got to make sure they're enforced though. Ingrid says they are forcing the locals off the island. I hope that doesn't happen. Jermaine Jackson says Throp, the problem is also no affordable land is in Negril, so it will be hard for any investor to build and make money, make the necessary. Okay. So, I mean, all right. So there's a development. All right. So there's a developer in Negril, and I think this could be like our money spot in terms of where we're looking at and hitting these these middle income residents that we're looking to possibly purchase and invest in. So Vista Bella, and I haven't really talked about them on here, but I talked to the developer 2 weeks ago, and we're going to get him on the podcast. I'm hoping we're going to get him on early October, as a matter of fact. And it's a fairly big development. It's one of the developments where you buy land, you build your house, sort of thing. And I'm going to have him on, and he's a Jamaican. He's a local. He's done some big developments here. Very down to earth guy, and Mr. Daly. And we spoke at length about him coming on the show. And he was like, he doesn't want to come on yet because the development is not where he wants it to be, and he wants to have a lot to show. However, like in my understanding of our community here is that I think this could be a perfect price point and just hit things right on the money with everything that we're talking about here. So I invited him on the podcast. Now we're just kind of trying to work out when and where. We're going to do a tour as well. This is also going to be a tour of Thropex as well. These are one of the developments that we're going to be going to. And it is, I can show you where it is right now, as a matter of fact. And it's in Negril. And let's go ahead and bring up our trusty map. Okay, can do full screen on the map. Awesome. Okay, here we go. So all right, so downtown Negril here. And this is Nampro Road. We're going. Where am I? Home Solutions. All right, so this is, let me make sure I know what I'm talking about here. All right, okay, got it. Okay, so this is Negril Estate, and then the development is, goodness, I'm getting confusing myself here. I believe the development here, this is Negril Estate. This has got to be it right here. Confusing the heck out of myself. So it actually horseshoes around Negril Estate. Here and here. Trust me, I think I know what I'm talking about. This is it. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. This is it. This is it right here. So this is Vista Bella here. And this is where they're developing, and it doesn't have all of the infrastructure in place, but to me this is like pre-construction prices. Everything is all lotted out, and it's in Negril. It's right in Negril, and it horseshoes around Negril Escape. I believe like this is what they own actually, or this sliver around here. And it's a great location. You're downtown. You're minutes from the beach, minutes from the roundabout, and I think it could be really one of those price points that we could be going after here in the community. So I'm going to be having him on at some point in time, and then also we're going to be making that part of the Thropex tour as well. All right. Let's keep it moving here. Crispy W says, Throp, I meant the developers have to make a financial contribution as well as provide for social housing as part of the development. Agreed. Totally agree. Stanley Franklin says, we don't need to worry. It's not the people's money, it's private money, so we should not worry. Okay. HB, that is Google Map. Okay. Afro Cheek 36 says, I have 10 acres of land in Hanover. I want to do development. Yes, I think that's good. I think you should. It says, do you have anyone that I can talk to for direction? I live in New York. I would say, yeah, talk to St. Albin Clark. He is mainly based in Montego Bay. He's a realtor, and I would point you in his direction. So Afro Chic, you can email me directly throp@thropmedia.com, and I will put you in touch. Or you can watch my last video that I did with him, and he has his contact information is there. I'd be more than happy to put you in touch. And Rachel says, come to Thropex. Yes, that's a good idea. If you come there, you will learn a tremendous amount, and you'll be put directly with all the players that can help you do this. And I think that's a very good thing. Thank you, Rachel. Come to Thropex. Let's go. Mindy says, I disagree about giving them money in addition to good house. What do they do to invest in the country? Were they given paying property tax? You don't get rewarded for being a drain, in my opinion. Sure. So I am Mindy is talking about our LA Mindy, sorry. Is talking about the folks that are living in the informal housing settlements on Navajo Road in Whitehall. I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment because we also got to accept the fact that the government has failed them and allowed them to take over these and create these informal settlements. And if you want, and we also got to think about what's the goal here? What's the goal here? To me, the goal is how do we get these folks to become part of the formal society? They're living, breathing humans that have capabilities. And how do we tap into those capabilities where they can become contributors, where their children don't fall into the same poverty cycle that the parents have found themselves in? And so that to me is the goal. How do we reach that goal? What is the best way to do that? What is the best way to create opportunity for those folks? What is the best way to bring them again into our society where they are contributing members of the society? So I think we need to start the conversation there and work backwards. And my suggestion about giving them housing, which I think that should be a non-negotiable, and also giving them money. It's more of an incentive than anything else. I'm not saying we have to, it's an idea, but we want to incentivize them to become contributing members of society. We want to incentivize them to pay their taxes and to contribute. We want to incentivize them to get jobs that move them, not only themselves forward, but also the companies that they work for as well forward. And this is how we move society forward. So those are my thoughts and reasons for bringing that to the table. And it's again, how do we get them to be part of society in a more formal way? And not saying that they're not part of the society. We're not saying that at all, but we want them to be contributing members. And they could be already. They could be, and don't get me wrong, many of them probably do work at the hotels. Many of them do. They probably work at the gas station. They probably work at all these different places. And it's not like they're there, just sucking up air. They got to survive and they got to have food, and pay for their kids to go to school. But it's just like, they're staying on land that doesn't belong to them. How they got there, I'm not sure. Why they got there, why they are there for so long, that's on the government for sure. That's not their fault, you know. And to me, it's just like, how do we, and it really says a lot about how do we treat the, the most less fortunate people who are part of our society, and how do we bring them back into the fold, or bring them into the fold. Just my thoughts. Katia, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Let's see. Joe asked, how much will Little Bay housing cost? Little Bay is sold out. So, if you're going to have to buy it resale, and I think you're looking at about $500,000 in that price range. Just off the top, I'm not sure. I don't know exact numbers. Chelsea, good to see you. Yeah, I did answer your question, Afro Chick. I hope you heard, but come to Thropex. That's the investment conference I'm putting on in November. If you want a contact for a realtor, just email me, throp@thropmedia.com, and I'd be more than happy to put you in touch. Dieter Morgan says, there is cheaper real estate, but no other century is Jamaica. No other country. Sorry, no other country is Jamaica. I agree. Totally agree with you, Dieter. Kevin Gainier says, with regard to Hambani Estates, Kingston is different market than Negril. Agreed. We did multiple real estate videos on Kingston, and that alone will tell you, very, very different market, very different money coming into Kingston. Kingston is where the money is at. No doubt. They have different price points with hotels as well. And they have a different market completely. That's the business market. And people could be doing a lot of business, say in Canada, in say Miami and Kingston, and they want to have the multi-million-dollar villa that they come and stay in, as opposed to staying in a hotel. Especially maybe an executive, a corporation will buy one of those villas for their executive vice president or president coming in, who comes in for Monday through Friday and flies back to Miami for the weekend, sort of thing. Kevin Gainier says, with regards to the comparison of Hambani Estates, Kingston is so different market than that. Also, Hambani Estates isn't 200 plus units. Yeah, I believe Hambani is like, correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, but I don't think it's around like 10 villas kind of thing. I do know somebody who's looking into that. That's the only reason why I know this. And I'm not looking into it myself. I'm not in that tax bracket. Howard McCaden says, as a frequent visitor in Negril, I really like the Ocean Point housing scheme in Lucy. Perhaps this could be a duplicated in Negril. I agree. I think Deep West End is poised for that. There is a lot of land in Deep West End, and that's also going to be part of the Thropex real estate tour. Phenomenal views, beautiful untapped land. Phenomenal. Some of the greatest views, I think, in all of Jamaica. Promise you. You'll see it in Thropex for sure. Shane, I love coaching. Good to see you. I was wondering where you were. Happy you made it. Beach Life says, agree with Berrydale. These developers should have to contribute to the renovation of hospitals, schools, or roads, need to pay taxes and hire locals. Tanzania makes that part of foreign development contract. Somebody said that earlier. Good points. Good point. All right, we got through all of those comments. Amazing. I love how well informed everybody is in this chat. Like, everybody is keeping up with what's happening and what's going on. And I stated this before about I think I was talking to my aunt about this, how passionate everybody is about Jamaica and patriotic. And I never felt it more than I did on Thursday. That was really good. And even in this follow-up chat that we're having here, that passion is definitely felt on my side with the comments and the discussions that we're having here. Sonia Ross says, Deep West End, look forward to learning more. Yeah, definitely. Maybe I can bring that up, actually. I just kind of want to, if you can imagine what it kind of looks like there. So let's bring up the map again. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Okay, here's the map. How do I get myself out the way? Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit and let's go to the West End. So we're gonna go. All right, so I'm going to take you on a little drive here. So we're leaving downtown Negril here. We're going west, 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 west. Patsy's Coffee Shop. We did a video there. Blue Maho, the former spa retreat. Keep going west end. Blue Cave Castle. Keep going, keep going. Samsara Cliffs. Oops, didn't mean to drop that pin. X Derby. We keep going. We keep going. Rock House. Keep going, keep going. Negril Escape, Patu Castle, keep going. Tengsin Pen, Catch a Falling Star, Rick's Cafe. Everybody knows Rick's Cafe. Villa Sumir. Gonna keep going. The Waves, the Caves, excuse me. Keep going, keep going. And we got Whoopies here. I don't know if you know Whoopies. And then now where's the lighthouse? Did I miss the lighthouse? I think we passed the lighthouse already. All right. We passed the lighthouse already. All right, keep going, keep going. And now we come to, we are in Deep West End at this point, once we turn this corner past Whoopies. And so we're Deep West End. This is the Cliff Hotel. I think this is one of the most beautiful hotels in all of Negril, like stunningly beautiful, great restaurant. If you haven't been there, highly recommend. Amazing stuff there. All right, keep going West End. Deep West End. We're keeping going, keep going, Deep West End. And you get little pockets where you can see the ocean, and it literally is as blue as you can see it on the screen. Absolutely gorgeous. Keep going, Deep West End. And then keep going, Wild Coffee Retreats, another awesome place here. This is like a hidden gem. It's a little small boutique hotel on Deep West End. And then they also have Pelican Lookout on here, looking out on the ocean. I think it's still, like, somebody told me that they closed down. I'm not sure, but I thought that was a really cool spot. Let's keep going. Deep West End. Somewhere West is my friend Angela's place. She's from Long Island as well, and she started this place, which is pretty cool. Beautiful, beautiful place. And let's keep going. Deep West End. This is that another supposed to be luxury hotel that was started. I don't know the back end of this, but this is one of the stories of Negril that unfortunately I don't know the name of it. But unfortunately this development never took place. But I understand it was like a lot of family issues that they had. And it's just a beautiful place, but it's just boarded up and it's just there and it just never opened. And you can imagine what this view looks like over here, but it's been dormant for as like my whole life, since I moved there. But even as a kid, I remember, like, I was like, man, when is this place going to open, kind of thing, and just never opened. Okay, and then here we make a left, and we're going up, and then this is a long road. So now we're going to Jackie's on the Reef. So is this Jackie's on the Reef? Hold up. It says it over there, but no, this is Jackie's on the Reef over here. Beautiful spa, beautiful place for yoga. If you see my video with Jackie, she's amazing. Really, really one of a kind, unique woman. I can't speak highly enough about her. Then this is West Ender Inn, another great hotel. They have a good restaurant here, and they have a pool. Beautiful views on both of these properties. Jackie's, they have, it's kind of a little fuzzy, but this is where you get your massage, and you're like literally, as you're getting a massage, you're just hearing the water hit the cliffs and just splashes. You don't need any of that synthesized sound kind of thing happening. This is all natural, the wind blowing. Amazing experience. All right, let's keep going west here. All right, yep, keep going west, keep going west, keep going west. This is Estate Serenade. So this is the place that I was saying goes for 5,000, I believe 5,000 US a night. I've never been on the property, but I hear wonderful things about it. I think you also get a boat that you get to rent at the same time that you get included. But it's from the pictures I saw and everything like that, beautiful, beautiful place, like amazingly beautiful place. Okay, so this is Deep West End, super deep West End. I'm trying to get my bearings straight here. And this land here, this is all of like this is what I'm thinking, and this is where I want to show people like this. And I drove. Where did I end up? I think it might have been here. No, I don't think I went that far. Nope. I think it's actually here. Yeah, this is where I end up. So like a lot of this is available for development. A lot of this is available for development. I believe I was told about 20 acres, and I'm going to try to get this on the docket for Thropex so we can go there of 20 acres of development. And I can't begin to tell you how beautiful this view is. Like just stunning. It's like so unreal. And you just think like, how is there nothing here? And I think this is like a perfect place to have a development. And I personally think like a development of this nature it almost has to be self-sustaining, because to get to downtown Negril, it's not far, but look at the roads. It's windy, it's hilly. It takes you about 20-25 minutes to get to. Man, it seems like so much further. But you're basically here where the mouse is, and like downtown Negril is right here. And so you have to drive all these windy roads. It's probably easier to go through and faster to go through Whitehall. So you take Whitehall Road, once you get here, and you follow this road, and it drops you off right on Nampro Road. But my idea is like if you develop over here, is you include like a grocery store. It's like its own little community, and so you don't necessarily have to go into town for a lot of things. It's quiet, like I said, it's beautiful. You hear the ocean, um, and you want like just like the basic needs that you don't necessarily need to go all the way into town. You have not that many other restaurants. You have West Center Inn, you have Jackie's. That's about it. Very, probably much closer to Sav, much closer to Little London if you're doing, going more east, if you will. But this is what I think is like prime real estate for development, and somewhat affordable, but it has a lot of land space with really, really gorgeous views. So that's something that I want to bring to the table for Thropex, and an idea that I've been toying around ever since that was made. Somebody made me aware that was available for purchase. Let's get into any questions here. Shayna Love Coaching says Thursday's live was low key spicy. In the chat, it definitely was super spicy. Stanley Franklin says, Throp, were there any local politicians at Thropex? No, no local politicians. I've been contemplating that. What would I say? The political aspect that I'm looking to bring to Thropex would be more so talking about the future plans of Jamaica. And we're working on this in terms of development of Jamaica, and then also the global logistics hub, because we do our research here in the chat and in the community of understanding and interpreting the presentation and the documents, but to have somebody speak to that directly. And I'm not against local politicians or anything like that, but I think for this group, and when I think about bringing the most value to the table, I really do want somebody who's sitting in these rooms talking to different foreign direct investors coming in. And I don't necessarily know of or think that the local politicians are in those type of meetings. I could be completely wrong, but I want somebody who could talk about the global logistics hub from, again, being in those direct circles, and then also about any sort of like new developments that are happening throughout Jamaica, not just in Negril. So that's kind of my thought process when it comes to bringing in political folks into the, excuse me, bringing political folks into Thropex. Joe says, at Chain of Love, as feisty as Jamaican people can be, though Thursday was rather mild. Shayna says, at Joe, very true. It was mild. I enjoy the candid discussion. Yeah, same here. Barry Dale says, Throp, is Jackie's spa an all inclusive? No, it's not. Not all inclusive. I did a podcast with Jackie. Highly recommend, one of the most popular ones that I have. Just incredible, incredible woman. I can't say enough positive things about her. Peter V says, not including accommodations, what is the cost of Thropex? It's $599, and that's all your meals. So once you come, you don't have to worry about any food. That's taken care of for the weekend, and the accommodations are separately. We still do have rooms available at Travelers if you're interested, so you can book there by sending in an email request, and all the information is on the website thropex.com. Thank you for the question, Peter. Okay, how much is the 20 acres estimate? So I was told, this was a little over a year ago. I was told, and this is gonna sound crazy, but $2 million. That's what I was told, US, which is crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. I don't know if it's still the same, but this is what I was told, and was told by a recognized realtor, I would say, and a trusted realtor. So I think that's a super steal, super, super, super steal. Berrydale says that Throp, any new development should create employment or opportunities for self-employment. I agree. Joe, I stayed in my first all-inclusive in Jamaica 3 years ago. When I got married, I was not impressed. I would rather stay at an Airbnb. Yeah, all-inclusives are not for some people. I am one of those people. That's not for me either. I like getting out and about. I think that's important to me, and I don't feel like being obliged to stay in a place where, well, I like, once you stay in an all-inclusive, like, you feel like you got to get your money's worth. But I do, however, think like all-inclusives are great for young families and great for if you do a group like a wedding. Sorry, let me bring this down. If you do a group like a wedding, it's just much easier from a logistics standpoint for sure. But not impossible to do at Travelers either. OBUK says, wow, yeah, I said the same thing. Kay says, you need a team of 50 people to take this on. Yep, I agree. We could formulate our own little group here, try and make that happen. I hope it's still available. Supreme says, I agree with you with your Thropex project. New township have to be developed, keep out politicians, and open up a funding platform to accept investors based on merit. 1, income. 2, qualifications. 3. Great point. Great thinking, Supreme. Great thinking. I think we got all of the comments here. Jacqueline Chambers says, hey, sir, have a blessed Sunday. Thank you for joining, Jacqueline. And thank you for the well wishes. All right, we're all caught up. All right, let's hop over to, I'm not getting any other updates from Tropical Storm Ian at this time. K Denpat says, are there gated houses available for under 300 US thousand? In Negril, yes, there are. And throughout Jamaica, yes, there are. Point Village is one of them. It's not new construction, but it's available. Aqueducts, it's going to be a little bit higher than 300 from what I understand, which is downtown Negril. relatively new construction there. Relatively new construction. Barrydale says, "Ha, hey, I am Great British Pound user. However, when providing quote estimate is always in US, or can it be in JA?" So Ocean Point, their prices are quoted in JA. Little Bay US, Aqueducts US dollars. I guess it depends on the developer, but you can do the conversions quite easily if need be. Carly Soul says, "This future development is really inspiring to hear." Awesome. Harold McCaden says, "What are the current prices for places in Point Village in Bloody Bay?" So I don't know why I can't bring up your comments, Harold, but I hope I'm not frozen. Current prices, you're probably looking at, this is just off the top of my head, 200,000, probably closer to 220, 225 for a one bedroom at Point Village. But this is speaking to many of the sentiments and theme of what we're talking about here. It's like those prices are rising rapidly. I mean, these prices increased probably, I want to say, close to 40% in the last, oh man, it can't even be a year. Maybe call it a year for argument's sake. 40% in a year. Prices have gone up precipitously. And it's just speaking to what is happening in the market. And I also think a lot of it has to do with a lack of inventory in Negril. So that's what it is. Lorraine 96 Smith says, "Did you get a chance to watch the Morris, the Family Time review on Travelers? Beautiful hotel." I only started the beginning. Thank you. I believe you emailed it to me, Lorraine. I only started the beginning. I saw that they complained about the Wi-Fi, and I just like texted my brothers immediately, like, "Hey, we need to fix the Wi-Fi," kind of thing. So, and then I stopped watching there, but I'm gonna continue watching. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. So I guess we had a Wi-Fi problem in their room, which we continuously are just upgrading our network, and we want to have Wi-Fi in every crevice possible, in every bathroom corner. But it's hard. It's hard. It's challenging because of the concrete. Not trying to make excuses, but like everything is concrete. It's not like we have drywall. And Tropical Storm Ian is here. We're in the middle of hurricane season. That's just the way things are constructed in Jamaica, concrete and steel. And so it makes it challenging to get these signals through these walls. So we just have to continue to get feedback, adjust sort of thing, and test like crazy. Joe says, "At what? I have only no real Jamaica. Staying at all inclusive seemed very fake. I did not feel like I was in Jamaica." Talking about her all inclusive experience and why she didn't like it. Barrydale says, "I thought people will be laughing at the decline of the English pound at this moment." Yeah, it's kind of, I haven't been keeping up with it, but I heard, I'm not sure if it's depreciating or just the value of, say, the US dollar is just continuing to rise. I haven't been keeping up in that respect. Okay, let's get to a couple of other updates. We've been going for about 2.5 hours. These ones are not so much and we could keep talking about housing if we want. I just wanted to bring up certain that are not necessarily Jamaica related. Before we get into that, so we have this is our farmers market that we're doing September 30th, next Friday, at Travelers. Sorry, across the street from Travelers. So we do these monthly. We do these monthly farmers market through our nonprofit organization, Negril Education and Environment Trust, and all the proceeds are going towards NEAT. And we're partnering with a bunch of local farmers and really trying to create opportunities for them. And they loved it. And it's something that we're trying to build and trying to make part of the monthly schedule in Negril. So if you know anybody, and this is for everybody, this is both for commercial, so for hotels and restaurants, these are directly the farmers. So these aren't necessarily people coming and reselling goods. These are the farmers who are actually farming and making these produce, who are selling it directly to the consumers, and you're getting it at a much cheaper price than you would be at, say, supermarkets and on the farmers market downtown, because this is, you're getting it directly from the source, so to speak. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Next Friday, September 30th, we're having a farmers market at Travelers. And this is again done by our family's nonprofit, or my family's nonprofit organization, NEAT, the Negril Education Environment Trust. And we'll be doing it every month moving forward. This is our second one. If you know anybody that might be interested, or if you're in town, come on by, support local farmers, support local farming. I think this is very, very important that we do things of this nature and we support things of this nature. And it should be good. The farmers are excited. They enjoyed the first one that we did last month. We didn't have the crowd that we wanted, but they, like, even without the crowd, they were very happy, and they were just so thankful for it, and they're so thankful that an organization is thinking about them and is pushing for them. And so we promised we'd commit to it, and we're trying to get more and more people to come, as many people as possible, and also trying to get into the commercial space to get them some revenue and make this into a Negril staple. So again, across the street from Travelers, next Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. farmers market across from Travelers. So that should be fun. Ingrid, your birthday is next Friday. Okay. Happy pre-birthday. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be on next week, but I'll try to remember to wish you happy birthday on the live stream I'll be here next Sunday for sure. Okay. Donna Bryce says we are booked at Travelers. Awesome. Happy to hear. Looking forward to meeting you. Booked at Travelers in November. Yes, I will be there. You will definitely see me there. Chris PW said Throp. Yep, our pound fell over the last couple of days. Oh wow. Okay, I gotta check that out. Kadiabia says, love it. So needed the Ari the farmers market. Good work indeed. Thank you very much. Joe says, I wish I could come to Thropex, but I'm attending the ISSA Foundation Gala. Oh yeah, you remember you told me it's the same weekend. I will buy a virtual ticket. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Ingrid. Beach Life says, hi Throp, am I missing something? Does Travelers not have connecting rooms? Have a blended family of 5 with 2 teens, different gender, who will need their own rooms. Baby will stay in parents' room. No, we do not have any connecting rooms. However, like, our rooms are very close to each other. So that's the way normally families do. I shouldn't say that. We have 2 suites available. And so when families do want to stay in the same room, we have the bedroom, and then we convert the living room into a room, and we've done that before, bring up a bed in there. So that's also an option that we had before. We've had. So take that into consideration. But we don't have connecting rooms. Sonia Ross says, I'll be in Negril next Friday. Awesome. Hopefully you can come by. I won't be there in Negril next weekend, but I will be there afterwards. So hopefully we get to meet up. Shayna Love Coaching says, question, how do you feel since you activated the process of putting together Thropex? How is your experience going thus far? Good question. It's a lot. I can tell you that. I knew it was going to be a lot. Like, the whole thing is logistics. All of it is logistics that you can imagine. So it's just a continued, never-ending process, of course, up until Thropex is actually executed on, of phone calls and emails between confirming panelists, talking to different sponsors, putting together, even the food menu with Travelers, understanding the setup for the event space as well, and talking with, what would I say, a supplier of like chairs and decorations and sort of things like that. figuring out the rental for the villa for the farewell party, the sound of having a DJ, the audio engineering, figuring out the live stream of having a professional deal with that, and having a team of videographers and cameramen come in to take care of everything. So a lot of logistics and putting it together. It's been fun, because like every day I wake up and like this is pretty much all I do. Fortunately, and I knew this was going to happen, the content and the production of the content has suffered on the channel, but I'm so happy that I have these live streams. These are so much easier for me to do. Of course, I can do it anywhere in the world when I'm traveling, and it helps me to keep in touch with the Throp community. And even though I don't have content coming out on a regular basis, like I try to push it out every 2 or 3 weeks, but the precedent and priority has been pushed to Thropex, and it's been a great experience so far. A lot of work, but it's been enjoyable and fulfilling. It's been great to have Candice on board. She's been a godsend in helping me figure different things out. We got a lot of different merch coming in as well for the event, and she pretty much took that on for me holistically. Now we have a weekly newsletter that goes out with updates not only on Thropex, but also updates on the channel and everything that's happening within the community. And that is thanks to having the support of Candice and her being on board fully. But I'm pretty happy with how things are going with Thropex in terms of folks booking, the interest, also the support from the Negril community. I guess we'll put in the newsletter in Thursday. So we got a full endorsement from the Negril Chamber of Commerce, which was very important to me. And they have essentially given, they're supporting it, and everybody's helpful and wanting to support it in their own way. I mentioned this before. There are a lot of local people that want to come, both business owners and when I say locals, like there's Negril locals and there's locals like in say Montego Bay, Kingston, who want to come just for the day pass sort of thing for the panel discussions. And so there's a lot of interest in that. So we're going to put out day pass pricing. Maybe there's some people who are on vacation that just want to come for a day or two that don't necessarily want to come for the entire weekend. So we're also going to have that available. And it's been good. Thank you for the question, Shayna. And, I'll try to keep, everybody up to date on what's happening in terms of the internal aspects of planning and everything like that. And it's been fun. It's been fun. I can say that. And it's been a lot of work, but I'm enjoying it. So thank you for that, Shayna. Shayna Love Coaching says, I think the content pace is great. I'm glad that you have additional support. Oh, as speaking of content, so something pretty cool happened. Along these very same lines, and I totally forgot about it. It's just along these same discussions. So I had the opportunity to be interviewed by the Washington Post a few months ago. Totally forgot. There's just so much going on. Like I totally forgot about it. And it was basically talking about this community. And when I say this community, not just the channel, but this community of people wanting to move to Jamaica. And I hinted at this before, but I guess now that I officially know it's coming out tomorrow in the Washington Post interview that I did with them. Oh, no sound. Hold on. Is anybody else not having a problem hearing me? Grant says there's no sound. I want to make sure I got this. Let me know. If you can't hear me, just let me know, or you can't hear me. Angel Mix69, if you want, dropmedia.com. Okay, you're hearing me fine. Good. So, Angel, if you want to be a part of the newsletter, just email me directly and I'll put you on the newsletter. Anyway, Washington Post. So they interviewed me about, it's a personal essay that the journalist is putting out there, coming out tomorrow digitally and in early October in print. And I'll make sure I put that in the community page. And it's a personal journey essay that she wrote. and she read out loud to me the interview that she did on me, which is so exciting. It's just really cool to know that that interest is being there, but and it's directly targeted at this group, and it's basically this talks about the black exit that's happening, Blexit, I believe they call it, that's happening in America, where black people are leaving and voting by their feet essentially, and leaving America and moving to predominantly black countries, and they are moving to places like different places in Africa. Ghana was one mentioned, and then of course Jamaica, and of course many things and subject matters that we discuss here in interviews that I do is of that, and a lot of it is just the what would I say, the systemic oppression that is here in America, that is not necessarily overtly seen or heard, but it's more felt, and that is just part of the Black American experience. And that interview is coming out tomorrow, and I will definitely be sharing it in the community page, and I'll be checking for it. And as soon as I have it, I'll let everybody know, and we can read up on it. But I just say that to say that, like, this is a very real thing. And I got an email from a young lady, and I spoke about this on the live stream on Thursday, about this weight that people feel, especially Black American women feel here in America. And that weight is in many ways lifted when you come to Jamaica. And a lot of people speak to this and speak about this and express this. And that was one of the things that I feel needs to be, it's underrepresented in a way. And when we talk about different housing developments and different opportunities for people to come to Jamaica, I would love for it to be more accessible, because there are people who are here in America that are feeling this weight on their shoulders and on their chest every single day. And reading the message from this young lady, which I haven't responded to. So if you're watching, like, I've seen it, I've read it, and I will respond to you. I'm like, man, like, this is really touching people. This is really affecting people, and people really want to get away from this, this systemic oppression. And, Jamaica is an opportunity for them, right? And so, anyway, I think it's going to be an interesting article. She read me the paragraph before my portion, and it's like, man, this is happening globally, and there is this undercurrent of people like just bouncing on America because of everything that's happening. Gun violence, um, especially gun violence in schools, and then just the systemic oppression that is very, very real. That is very real. So I will definitely share that with everybody. Definitely share that with everybody. Rachel says, that's exciting, amazing. I'll look out for the article. It says a lot about what you're doing for Jamaica. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much. I'm excited for it as well. Sonia Ross says, I would love to read it. I was going to ask which section of the post it would be in. I will check the community page. Yes, I will definitely make sure I put that out there. Globally Wendy. Hey Wendy. Wendy was on the live stream on Thursday. She says, I promoted Thropex in global real estate column in the next issue of Caribbean American Passport magazine. Pick it up in Jamaican shops in Florida, Toronto, available online too. Please share it with us if you could, Wendy, and we'll make sure we can put it out there on the community page as well. Ingrid says, Throp, if there's any guest, a traveler who's looking for a driver while visiting Jamaica, please let me know. I have a very good and reliable driver available for chapters. He took me, charters, I think you meant. He took me around Jamaica in May. Awesome. Good to know. Thank you, Ingrid. Max and Relaxin says, this is so true. It's a new exodus happening. It certainly is. It certainly is. It's been happening for quite a few years. And I mentioned in an article, And it really, this is just a fact, a matter of fact, which is like the Trump presidency, like pushed a lot, like brought a lot of this to the surface. And it really helped my channel. Like, I'm not even kidding. And people were looking at my channel as a resource to figure out, hey, how can I leave America and move to Jamaica? And they were looking at it as a way of, hey, Rahel Technical Georgia. She was the first interview on this podcast that I did, this video podcast. You can go back and take a look at it. And she was a young Black woman living in Philadelphia, ended up leaving Philly and moving to Jamaica. And there are many, many stories just like that. And like I told, like from what I've seen, a lot of it, and here is it's a lot of Black American women who are pushing this movement. At least what I'm seeing in Jamaica. And I'm not saying like Black men are not doing it either. It is happening. Black families are leaving America, and a lot of the reason people says is just like it's the Trump factor. It's a big part of their reason, at least at that time when they were in the height of when he was in the height of his presidency. A lot of people are saying if he gets elected again in 2024, they're going to leave as well, and they're going to leave America. And again, that has helped the channel. It's unfortunate that that's the way it is, but you got to do what you got to do for your own sanity and for your own mental health. And if you feel that you need to leave a country or another country is better for you, then why not? And if I can help in any way, for sure, for sure. Sonia says America is a total freak show. A lot of us can't wait to get away from the madness. Carly Soul says, absolutely, Max Exodus wave has been reignited. I moved to Grenada 8 years ago from the States. And Well says, how could you forget about the article? Get your priorities straight. Looking forward to read it. Always enjoy your Sunday live streams. Thank you, Anwell. Appreciate that. M. Grant says, well, about the recent mass shooting in Jamaica. Yeah, I don't know much about that. That was crazy. Talking about the soccer game. That's not a normal occurrence here in Jamaica, I would say, but that is part of American culture for sure. Mass shootings is just what America is known for. And I didn't realize, I said this before, I didn't realize that this is something that we were known for until like I was dating somebody from Europe, and she told me that, yeah, America is known for mass shootings. Like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? We are? And then when I realized, this was maybe like 8 years ago, and what I realized is that, yeah, that is very much a part of American culture and gun culture. Is like, man, mass shootings are just so regular. It's so crazy. So crazy. Oh, we got a little spammer here. Yeah, there was a shooting in but it wasn't like, I don't know the background story about that. It was at a soccer game, and it was a targeted shooting. That unfortunately a few people lost their lives. I don't know too much about it. Ingrid says white Americans in the past used to deny the existence of racism in America, but I think they are finally opening their eyes to the truth. Yep. M. Grant says mass shooting in St. Catherine. Joe says Jamaica needs more international school K through 12 like they have in Kingston. I think there would be more families moving to JA if the parishes had international schools. So there is one. So we're trying to get, that's the other thing. We're trying to get a representative from from an international school in the West to come. And so Candice is working on that. And I think that's very important because there are a lot of families that are thinking about moving to Jamaica. And I want to, when I say come to Thropex as a panelist to talk about their program and what they have to offer. So I'm confident that we'll have that, and we're working on that. And yeah, I think there needs to be more of that. Negril also needs a high school. I will not stop saying that until that starts happening. We need a high school there as well. But good point, Joe. Good point, Joe. Supreme, the mass exodus is huge. A lot of us have been carrying a burden of living in an oppressive system. Example, I work for a huge company as the only Black person, well qualified, but always ignored and overworked. Yeah, I've heard this many times before. Even get a little bit more light here. Even I met this young lady. She's a lawyer was a lawyer for a law firm here in New York, and she ended up leaving New York and moving to Jamaica, moving to Kingston because of exactly what you're talking about there, Supreme. And there was only like 2 or 3 other coworkers that she had that were Black, and she just felt every day she had to come in and she could not be herself. She had to form herself into fitting into this box so she doesn't make her coworkers uncomfortable, and has to carry herself a certain way so she's not looked at and that sort of thing. And it's just like, man, I can only imagine this constant pressure of just not being able to be your true self because of your surroundings and because of the corporation, and just being treated unfairly while being super qualified for promotions and things of that things of that nature, excuse me. And she ended up leaving and moving to Jamaica. And I remember she met with me a few years ago based on the podcast about her making that move, and she finally did make that move. So your point is well taken, Supreme. Sonny Ross says there's a mass shooting every day in America. That's very true. HB says not only Black people, white people also leaving America. I believe that. Ingrid says, M. Grant, that's the first time in our history. It's definitely not the same level as America. Not even close. Not even close. Not even in the same argument. Supreme says, besides Jamaica, Ghana is hot on my list, Tanzania, Grenada, and Kenya. Sonia Ross says, what is an international school and what makes it different? So there is I think it's called like the American School or something in Kingston. And it's a lot of kids of diplomats go to that school. I forget the name of it. Let me see if I can find it. I think their curriculum is a bit different. It's a private school. You have to pay literally tens of thousands of dollars per year for this. I do believe the curriculum is a bit different. Then I don't know too much about it, so I don't want to speak out of turn, so to speak. I'm trying to see if I could find it on Instagram. No, I'm not finding it. I'm sorry. And then there's Fairfield Academy, and I think it's in Reading. It's, basically Montego Bay in the West. That's the other one that I know of. And they have international teachers. I think that's also a part of it as well. International teachers. But yeah, those are the differences that I can think of off the top of my head. Chris PW says, "What publication are you covered in?" That was the Washington Post. I think if that's what you're talking about with me with the interview that I did. So that's coming out tomorrow. I'll make sure I put that in the community chat tomorrow. Thank you, Candice. American International School of Kingston. That's the school that I was referring to. So yeah, if you want more information on that and see the difference, you can take a look. American International School of Kingston. Oh, Joe said the same thing. Thank you for that. Thank you, everyone. Max and Relaxing says, my fam want to go to other countries, but I'm determined to give JA a chance. If it don't work, then I'll seek out elsewhere in the Caribbean. Okay. Grant, the corruption behind Fast and Furious, then you will see the recent mass shooting is an offshoot of that. Could be. I don't know the background enough on what that was about to even really comment on it. Kadia says, the International World School, yes, it's expensive for ambassador and diplomat children while their parents work there. Right. Rachel says, being a minority and overqualified in the U.S. is the biggest sin. Yeah, unfortunately, I've heard that many, many times. Many, many times. How McKaden says, Father Jim from Marigate of Heaven Church would be a great person to talk to in regards to getting a high school. He used to be a principal in Cincinnati before he came to Negril. Yeah, I know he would be. I know he would be for that for sure, for sure. But like this is another thing that we need help. This is where I would say if we want to put the government's feet to the fire, it would be for something like this. This is where the the private sector can't really take on something of this nature of needing a high school. Like we got to push for it as a community, and we got to make the government make it happen. This to me is like, like when we complain about the government not doing that, like this is something like, why don't we have a high school in Negril? This is something that I think we is worth fighting for. M. Grant says they wanted to start mass shooting during a President Kennedy era, and he went against it. USA wanted to involve Cuba in mass shooting would have given them an end. Okay, don't really know too much about that. Ingrid says those international schools tend to not teach Black history or Black excellence. We need to create our own international school. Good idea. I don't know much about the curriculum there, but I think Black history and Black curriculum is very, very important, especially for our kids. I know they're trying to erase that here in America, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Lorraine 96 Smith says, Throp, what happened with the hospital your dad tried to build? He sounds like a very special man. It was a tough undertaking, extremely tough undertaking, and a multitude of reasons. My dad wanted to make it a hospital, a nonprofit hospital for the people, and that was a tough thing to do. And because a big motivation around that hospital is emergency trauma care. And if you know anything about hospitals, that's like one of the biggest losing aspects of running a hospital facility is the trauma emergency care, because a lot of times those people can't afford the care that you give them, the life-saving care, and they end that happens in the United States here. You end up being in debt for life because you have to take an ambulance to go somewhere. And I think that was a big turnoff for a lot of people and potential investors. And my dad tried very, very hard with that, very hard, and just couldn't really get it off the ground. Had a great team around him, and yeah, it just didn't work out. But I'm glad we have a hospital in Negril. It's not the facility that my dad was looking to do and looking to build, but at least we have something here at this point. Joe says, I think any high school can apply for IB diploma program for school. The International Baccalaureate diploma program is an assessed program for students aged 16 to 19. It is respected by leading universities across the globe. Okay, cool. Sonia Ross says, I was just curious about the school. I wouldn't send my child to any school where Black people were erased. Too crazy. Yeah, for sure. K says, Drop, if you buy that 20-acre, do a community and build a school right next to it. Yeah, we're going to need some big bucks for that. Going to need some big bucks for that to make that happen. But that would be cool if there was a school there. There's enough land space to make it happen. All right, want to get to the next thing. What's the next thing? Oh yeah. This is outside of. I thought this was cool. So we're moving a little bit away from Jamaica. We're going to try to mix it up a little bit. So I thought this was cool. So this is the Berlin Marathon, which ran Sunday, this morning. And those that don't know, this is Eliud Kipchoge. That's him winning. He hit the world record. 2 hours, 1 minute, 9 seconds, which is so crazy. That's a 4-minute, 36-second pace per mile. The last time he beat his own world record, which I think was 2:02:41, I believe. And this is the same year that I ran Berlin Marathon. This was in 2018. And of course, I was out there represented as usual. And that was the first time that I ever broke 3 hours. And he had made that first world record. And I thought that was something special that I just wanted to bring to the table here. I just feel like, kind of a part of that because I was there for the first time he broke the world record. And now he's from Kenya and absolutely amazing. So happy for the dude. And he broke it this morning. And I just thought, and it was something that I wanted to bring up here in our discussion if you weren't aware. And of course, I'm going to always bring running into this somehow at some point. And I thought it was just spectacular. And he actually broke, the marathon in under 2 hours, 159.52 or 48. I might be a little off there. And that was unofficial because he had these pacers in that, and if you're breaking the world record, you can't really have pacers. And it was a controlled environment in Vienna, and man, 20109, that's incredible. He just makes you think like anything is possible. I never thought anybody would be in a 201 category, so I thought that was pretty cool. I just wanted to bring that up. Let's see what else we have. And then we're going to go into Thropex a little bit here. I don't know if anybody has any comments on, or anybody else who's running marathon. We had, there was another guy who's here last week who ran the Berlin today, and he never sent me, I never got his bib number. I wanted to track him, but he said he was going to be running Berlin, someone in our community here. I hope he did well. He's probably recovering right now. I'm sure he's recovering. It's nighttime over there, and he's not on the live stream here. But if he comes in next week, we gotta congratulate him. Hopefully he finished, and hopefully he did well. Oh, Paul Williams just became a channel member. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining the channel and becoming a member. I appreciate that to the max. Amazing. Joe says that's amazing. Congrats to him. Yes, congrats to him, and for sure. Jane, I love coaching, says, why did you develop the passion to run marathons? I started in 2016. I ran Reggae Marathon, actually. That was my first marathon that I ever ran. And I told myself that after I finished it, I would never run another marathon in my life. And after I healed up and got my head right, I was like, oh man, I'm not going to let this marathon get the best of me. And so I did it again the next year. And then I think the following year I qualified to represent Jamaica in Japan for the Totori Marathon. And I got that 2 years in a row. And it was pretty much after that, like I really started taking it seriously. I got a coach who coached me, who's my same coach now. He's been my coach for like 5-6 years now, and really just kind of got addicted and stuck with it. And now I have this goal of running an Olympic qualifying time next year, even though I'm injured and I don't have my fitness. But that's my goal next year. And I never thought I would ever be running these sub-elite marathon times and being as fast as I am now. Well, not now, but potentially. And that I would even be going after an Olympic qualifying time, which is like insane to me. But you just never know. You just never know when you get into these things and what it can turn into. And that's kind of how I got addicted and got into it. Thank you for the question, Shayna. I know this is not a running pod, but it's always going to come up somehow, some way. All right, let's get into some more comments here. Joe says, oh, okay, this might be out of context, but at Supreme, I currently pay $5,000 a year for my daughter to attend pre-K in NYC, and this is very cheap for my area. Other private pre-K in my area is about $10,000 per year. Damn, pre-K, that's crazy. But that is cheap for New York, for sure. That is cheap for New York, for sure. All right, I think I missed some comments up here. That's my little niece, Emma. Hello, Andrea. I don't know if the family is there, but hello, everybody. She's chiming in from the UK. Nice to see you, Emma. Thanks for hopping on. All right, let's move up. Ingrid B says, great conversation again. I had to listen, couldn't chat. Off to work. Blessings, everyone, to be an affordable investor in my family's homeland. Take care, Ingrid. Thanks for chiming in. Globally, Wendy says, congratulations on the new world record. Amazing prepping for Reggae Marathon and our team Smile Jamaica to raise. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Definitely took that out of context, that previous comment. So Supreme says ASIC, the American school in Kingston, annual fees 9,616. K is 11,718. Grades 1 through 5, 16,338. Grades 6 through 8, 18,100. Grades 9 through 12, 19,574. 19,096, and grade 12, 22,000, all in US. These are annual fees. That's not crazy. I remember this is like silly me, sixth grade Winthrop. Like my friend ended up going to LaSalle University, that's LaSalle School. It's a private school on Long Island. And he's like my best friend. And I told my dad, I was like, I want to go to that school. He's going. And it was like, I think it was like 20,000 a year. And my dad was like, get out, like, you go to public school. What are you talking about? Like, I remember being upset. I obviously didn't really understand the concept of money and probably what was expensive at that time. And yeah, that was very expensive. And I was 12, 11 or 12. But yeah. Oh, got another spammer here. Sorry. All right. So Paul Williams says, thanks for having me, Throp. Awesome. I would love to be a part of that 20-acre investment property. I'm gonna look into it. Gonna look more into it. I haven't even began to explore what that could possibly turn into. It's definitely like one of the premier pieces of property that I want to bring to Thropex. That's actually the first property that I thought of when I came up with doing the tour for Negril, was that property. And I'm going to be working with the realtors to hopefully find some other gems in Negril that I don't even currently know about right now, but we'll be bringing to the table for Thropex. And yeah, that 20-acre property seems very doable. $2 million for 20 acres on the water. And again, I can't begin to tell you how beautiful that view is. I think there were a few comments up here in regard to that. Let me see. But yeah, M. Grant says the young lady has a YouTube channel who built herself a container home. Yeah, Rasha Lynn. Yep, we talked about her earlier. Rachel's heading out of here. Have a great week, everyone. Throp, as always, great live. See you soon. Thanks for joining, Rachel. Appreciate it. Say hello to mom. Rachel, Shayna Love Coaching says, just in case you missed the earlier comment, what about crowdfunding, which the Throp community can contribute? Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we can do that. It'd have to be, I don't know how this stuff works in terms of setting up investment contracts and how crowdfunding will work. Obviously, we'd need to raise millions of dollars to make this happen. Maybe yeah. Something to think about, Shayna. I think it's a very good suggestion, and seeing if we could pool our money together to create this investment. I've seen this done before. I've seen a lot of this being pushed in the Black community here in America, of putting together these real estate investment funds, real estate investment trusts, I guess it would qualify as, and building, obviously this would be like a very focused real estate investment trust, like not necessarily spreading it out to a multitude of investment properties, but really concentrating it on one development. So again, I don't know the nuts and bolts of putting together such a prospectus, but I definitely think it's something that I would consider doing. Absolutely. Shayna says the contributions can be done in phases. Yep, I definitely think so. I think that's possible. I think that's very possible. Kay says start a company, issue shares. Okay. Yeah. Globally, Wendy says I can recommend 2 platforms. Okay. We'll see, people. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's get past Thropex first, and then we can see what happens. Who knows? Maybe there could be there would be some synergies that are created over the weekend that further this conversation and could turn this into reality. I feel like Thropex can turn into something like that and is turning into something like that, as a matter of fact. Katia B says, "Do you know Marlon in BK of the wild famous marathon running crew by chance? That's my peoples. He has that same passion you have about running. Just wondering." Wild famous marathon running crew? No, I don't know that. I run with Teamwork. That's my shirt that I'm wearing right now. That's my running crew out here in New York. But I don't know. I know most of the crews out here. I know the Brooklyn crews. I don't know many of the Manhattan ones. But um, no, I'll look them up. Wild famous running crew. I'm gonna actually Google them right now. I don't want to forget. All right, I'll look into them. I'll tell them Katia sent me. Chanelo says no pressure. Mark McCarthy says, "Greetings, one and all. Very interested in being part of this partnership. I'll help out with the planning for preliminary studies. Thank you." Katia says, "Okay, dope shirt. Cool. I'll let him know. Thank you." Oh, yeah. Love to say hello. Maybe get a run in with him when as soon as my ankle starts to work. Supreme says, "Set up an S corp and trust in the U.S., then register an LLC and another in Jamaica owned by US based trust and open up accounts in both jurisdictions." That's step one. Sounds like you got a lot of experience in that, Supreme. That just rolled right off the tongue. Um, Globally, Wendy says, "Look at what Chris Senegal has done in Houston and crowdfunding to stop gentrification in his neighborhood. He used By the Block." Okay, we've got a lot of avenues here for sure. Got lots and lots of avenues. All right, want to step over to Thropex real quick. Just want to bring up the. So send out another newsletter. We're trying to stay on top of it as much as possible. As far as I know we should have another newsletter coming out this week. And if you are not on the newsletter, email list, let me know. And if you want to be, just shoot me an email, throp@thropmedia.com, and I'll throw you on there. I think I got everybody who emailed me last week on this week's newsletter. So if you want to be on there, throp@thropmedia.com, and I'll throw you right on there. But this week, officially announced Martin from Astrojam. We talked about that last week, and super excited to have him on board. We did recaps on the live streams about the Negril sign and that controversy. I also sent out information on the International Coastal Cleanup Day, which was also a lot of fun. I think I posted a picture. Yeah, I think I posted a picture in the YouTube community section on my channel. So that's that. Thropex. Who else? I confirmed somebody else. I forget. Who did I confirm? I confirmed. Oh yeah, I confirmed our. I knew this was officially confirmed. German Vanzi. She is the personal financial advisor for Sagicor Investments, and she's going to be one of the investment speakers coming on board. So very excited. We'll be talking. That'll be sent out in this week's newsletter, and she's coming on board. Very, very. If you haven't seen my interview with her, very informed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, investing in Jamaica from whether you have experience or no experience. She knows what she's talking about. I would say one of my most trusted people in regards to personal finance in Jamaica. And she's coming on board. So very happy to announce that she is going to be a panelist speaker on investing in the Jamaica Stock Exchange and kind of giving us an overview of that, of how to participate from abroad, and then also talking about different different prospectuses that are out there, as well as some advice on some advice on uh, which stocks to choose, what's hot right now, that sort of thing. So pretty cool, pretty cool. So that's the announcement, and I just want to continue to remind people that who are coming, and we're going to put these on the. We're going to start sending out in October um, conference specific emails, conference guest specific emails, just reminding people every week about bringing their all white outfit for the farewell party on Sunday. But yeah, coming together smoothly, coming together slowly. Let's get back. M. Grant says, "What is a TRN and why is it needed?" So TRN is a tax registration number. If you're going to do any type of business in Jamaica, you have to get this. You can actually apply for it online. You don't even need to be in Jamaica. You can go to the um, what's the name of the website? The Tax Administration of Jamaica (TAJ) website, and then you can apply there for your TRN. And if you're going to register a business, open a bank account, anything, you have to have a TRN. It's not as quite as secretive and important as a social security number, but it's in the same ballpark. Mark McCarthy says, Throp, how do I join the running team? So you can actually go to, hold on, team. I'm going to try to find their website. Okay, so their website is, I'm going to throw it in here. You contact them through Instagram. It's rerunkings.com, Kings County, Brooklyn. And that's their website, Mark. Awesome that you're interested. I'm gonna post some pictures that I did I couldn't run with them yesterday, so I rode with them through Brooklyn up and down up the West Side Highway, and I just did photos. I'm gonna edit them after we get off this live stream, and I'll post a few to the community so you can see. But that was like kind of my contribution. You're welcome, Mark. That was my contribution to the team, and really inclusive group of runners. And the coach Joe Shane, he is really all about like pushing running, making running part of the Black community. And I'm sure many people are aware, like Black people don't necessarily run. Like we don't. It's just not part of our culture. But I strongly believe, as we just saw with the post that I put about the world record being broken this morning by a Kenyan, like it's in our genes, and we have so much potential. But I think culturally, it's just looked at it as a sport that is not for us. But we are so naturally gifted and talented, and it's just a matter of changing that narrative and changing that mindset. That I really believe Joe, the coach of the of teamwork, is really pushing. So I'm here. I'm here for it. I'm here to help in any way that I can. Supreme says, would love to be at Thropex, but just learn about it today. Oh, okay. Can always attend virtually as well. We have virtual tickets if you want to come, Supreme. Katia says, my auntie Rhoda, 103, featured on Jamaica Uncut last month, recently passed. A memorial is next week. She worked at Negril's primary school. Just want to let viewers know who may have gone there to know. Oh, wow. Wow. That's awesome. I did see that interview. My condolences. I didn't know she passed away. You just told us about that. That's amazing. That's super, super amazing. 103. What a life that has been. Um, that's good to know. She worked at Negril Primary. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I just peeped the interview really quickly and on Jamaica Uncut. Oh, Supreme. Yep, I answered. Yeah, you can join virtually. You can join Dropbox virtually. Farm Girl Jess, good to see you. Thanks for joining. All right, those are all the updates that I have for Thropex. I don't have anything else. There'll be a newsletter again next week, and continue to work. Get your tickets if you want to. If you want to come, we'd love to have you in person. If you can't, you can always buy a virtual ticket at thropex.com. That there, and I'll throw that on there, and you can buy your tickets there, virtual and in person. Lastly, wrapping up, I won't be doing a live stream this week. I'm actually going to be at a conference in LA, and well, yeah, unfortunately, but it's a YouTube conference, which I'm very excited. I went to this conference 2 years ago before COVID, before Corona, and it was amazing. Amazing people, meeting a lot of other YouTubers there. And this to me is just so important to go to these conferences. And this is how it gives me, it's a way for me to grow the channel, to extend the community and help me to learn. And this is like kind of one of the investments that I would say I make it every year to go to these conference to go to conferences of this nature. This is my second conference that I'm going to this year, and I continue to go to these things. If you are a channel member or you are a Patreon member, I will definitely be doing like every day, like vlogs and keeping everyone up to date on that. And probably not, I definitely post them in the community on the community page, but definitely I want to give some insight into for those people. So I love the fact that I don't have there's like no pressure to like edit these things and put them together, that like in this, if I'm putting it out on my channel as an actual piece of content. So it's going to be very raw and uncut for those that are channel members and those that are Patreons. So you're just gonna literally see it coming from my phone and onto your page. So if you're interested in being so behind the scenes, so to speak, on my adventure next week in LA and at the YouTube conference, I invite you to become a channel member or to support on Patreon, and you'll get that immediate benefit. Candice is actually coming with me. So I'm flying to LA tomorrow. She's flying to LA tomorrow as well. And we'll both be there learning as much as humanly possible about how to be a better YouTube channel and how to really continue to bring value to you, the audience, as much as humanly possible. So that's the update on what's happening next week. And we are going to leave it there. We are at almost 3.5 hours. This was a lot of fun. That kind of flew. My throat is just starting to hurt, and I just got hungry. I just got hungry. So we're going to be moving on and closing out. I don't think I'll be able to do live on Thursday because that's 4, 3, 2, 1. That's going to be in the middle of the conference, and of course I want to be as present as possible at the conference. So we will do a live on next Sunday for sure, and we will make that happen and give you guys behind the scenes. Throp done an NYC meetup. I know I couldn't time. I wish I had the time. Maybe next weekend. I don't know. We can talk about it. I don't think I have, honestly. I don't think I have the time. I was supposed to go to a Jets game today. Got invited to. I think who they playing. They're playing. I think they're playing Cleveland today or Cincinnati. I think they're playing Cincinnati today. I'm a huge Jets fan. Huge Jets fan, but just couldn't go. Just like I would have missed this live stream, which I didn't want to do. Have just a lot of work to do. Thropex, getting out correspondences. Even though I'm traveling tomorrow, like I want to make the most of my day traveling with Thropex, even though I'm not in Jamaica, but pushing forward Thropex. So these are all the things that I think about in terms of using my time wisely. So I wish I could have gone to a Jets game, but hopefully I can go later this fall after Thropex. Sonia Ross says, you give us so much of your time, so thank you. No problem. I enjoy it. I'm more than happy to. Mark McCarthy says, bro, just want to thank you for all the information. It's truly appreciated, and I'm toiling away on the development in Clarendon. I just returned a day ago. Oh, awesome, awesome. Happy to hear, man. Happy to hear. Congratulations. Happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. Katia says, nice. Travel blessings. Be safe. Thank you. Shayna Love says, thank you, Throp and community. Have a wonderful day. Max and Relaxing says, all the best at the conference. Safe travels. No problem. The NYC crew still loves you and appreciates you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. All right. We're going to leave it there. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate your time. It was nice hanging out with you. Sorry, no beach, but we'll be back in 2 weeks right on the beach for sure, for sure, for sure. Have a great week coming up, and I hope it's a productive one. And you'll get updates in the comment section and the community section, I'm sorry, about what's happening at the YouTube conference that I'm going to tomorrow. Have a great one, everybody. Nice hanging out with you. Take care. Bye-bye.